2021. Prepaid excluded. Restrictions apply.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2 W298BB. WIBC HD3 W228CX. Indianapolis.
It's Kevin and Query.
I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay? All right, get the out of here.
I'm going to talk a lot about drills and fundamentals.
Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it.
On 93.5
Watch it.
and 107.5.
Boom, baby.
The Fan.
Well, probably the loudest Gainbridge Fieldhouse has been all season long, and honestly sums up the Pacers season that was for the visiting team and one particular player last night who made the plays and got a little help around him as the Warriors finish against the Pacers 102-100. Now 9 losses by 4 points or less for the Pacers this season. Good Tuesday morning to everybody tuning in to Kevin and Query. We've got a loaded show today. Sal Palantonio from ESPN going to join us to talk about Saturday night's mega matchup over at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, over at Lucas Oil Stadium. Several bits of Colts news that we want to hit on as well from yesterday, but definitely the story from last night, Jake, was Steph Curry going for the record and the Pacers once again not being able to close out an opponent.
And what was interesting, 2 things jumped out at me about that game. Number one, the Pacers don't have a closeout player. They had to lead the entire game. Then late in the game when they needed a bucket, once again, everybody's kind of figuring out where it's going to come from. Number 2, what you saw in Golden State was a guy in Steph Curry that probably was forcing it too much in the last couple of minutes. But when you are an elite level star who can score in volume, it doesn't matter. You can take those shots, and there's no hesitation to take it again the next time down, right? And the rest of his teammates know how to feed off of that. Golden State makes the plays down the stretch. I really thought, and I know that of the, I don't know if it was a sellout. I don't think it was. Did you go?
No. Yeah, technically 1701 on the box score.
Okay, so of the 17 there.
17,000, obviously.
10,000 of those are regular Pacer fans. 3,000 of them are there specifically to see Steph Curry. And 4,000 are Pacer fans who have a kid that's a Steph Curry fan, right? But 17,000 people in the place are holding their breath every time that he was taking a three, either because they absolutely did not want to see him break the record against their team, or more often than not, because, Shannon admitted to me last night, and Shannon's been to every Pacer home game for 30 years and is fairly devout, like bleeding blue and gold. And she's like, I really did kind of want to see him break the record. I wanted to win, but I wanted to see him break the record. I want to see history and see the Pacers win. I think a lot of people felt that way. But nonetheless, Kevin, look, moral victories you're not looking for, but it was a great atmosphere. That's that buzz, that electricity, that epicenter, that focus, that's what you want, right? You want people interested in what's going on down there. Maybe not for the other team, but still, just to have people in the building and have some juice. Yeah,
a really fun Monday night. Unfortunately, the only reason it was that atmosphere is because of the visiting opponent, and they come here once a year. So that's not going to be replicated when the Pacers return home on, Thursday night against the Pistons. You brought up you don't have a player to close. I think the other thing I was reminded of last night watching that finish, they don't have a play to go to late.
Yeah, that's fair.
When you hire Rick Carlisle, theoretically, you're trying to create more of an advantage on the sidelines than you had in recent years. And, yes, the old adage of players not plays late, I largely agree with. But, where's the go-to set? Whereas last night, by far, your 2 best players were Malcolm Brogdon and Domantas Sabonis. By far. It wasn't even close. Karis LeVert was awful. Miles Turner was even worse. Steph Curry on the other end of the floor, Jake, he's getting... what, did he shoot it on the final 3 possessions? He hit the 3 to cut it to 2. He drove in the lane and got a really nice move to kind of hold Turner back and make that layup to tie it. And then he shoots a 3 that Kevin Looney gets the offensive rebound, and that was the eventual game winner. Yes, it's Steph Curry, but that dude with all the attention on him in the entire building is able to get his shot off on 3 straight trips down the floor. Right. Some decent looks. And the Pacers, what do? dribble it out of bounds. Their first option, Brogdon, just all right. Draymond Green switches on me, boom, I give it up, and the Pacers.
The turnover was not a good time, right?
Oh my God,
not a good time
awful.
for the turnover.
And LeVert, Jake. I mean, we've talked about this so often with him. He's such an over dribbler. Everything is so difficult for him. You get in that late game situation, and he is not the guy that I think you want to be isolating because, again, it takes too long to develop, and more often than not, I think he's going to dribble himself into a bad shot or a very low percentage look.
Good morning to you. It is a Tuesday morning now, right, Kevin? And it's supposed to be, again, 75 degrees and sunny today. Have you seen the forecast? It's another beautiful, spring day here in Indianapolis.
It is supposed to be 60s this week, right?
I will absolutely take it. Yeah, it's supposed to rain, I think, starting tomorrow, but anytime we can avoid snow and ice, brother, I am all
sign
for
me
it.
up.
A lot to talk about over the course of today. You had mentioned the Pacers last night, Kevin. That will be a big theme of the show. Also, some high school sports to talk about. An interesting story coming out last night about Center Grove and Carmel High School and just some of the implications I think that could have throughout the area. We will get into that. And then the NFL yesterday, Kevin, I'm at the gym and I'm working out, and I don't know how your gym is, Kevin, but where I work out, they have the screens up there at Lifetime Fitness, and I think they have a way that you can tune in on an FM frequency to hear the audio of the different, but who carries a Walkman anymore, right?
No, I thought you meant tune into us.
Well, that too, that'd be great. By the way, you can always do so online, right? Not only listening to us on 93.5 and 107.5 FM.
We're available via app. We're available via online stream, YouTube as well. So, yes, many areas to find Kevin and Corey.
Or on podcast variation, when you go to the gym later, if this morning isn't enough for you to take in these dulcet tones, you can do so while on the elliptical. But I'm watching it, and I see up on the screen Adam Schefter, and whenever you see Adam Schefter on TV, you think, well, here we go. 37 cases in the NFL for COVID. We can, I think we're past the point of debating or arguing or discussing whether or not people, everybody's got their idea of how severe COVID is, and I get and respect that. But that's the highest number, if I'm not mistaken, Kevin, for a Monday for the NFL season so far, right?
It's the highest number since COVID started, by far. It's not even close to being second. I want to say, what did you say it was, 36 yesterday, 37, something like that?
37, I think it was.
I believe the next closest day was last year at the start of training camp, and that was 24. And again, when you start training camp, obviously you have players that are being tested for the first time in months. So, and they're all coming from different parts of the country and all, descending back on their respective NFL cities and whatnot. So, yeah, a massive number yesterday for the NFL. Obviously, we saw the Chicago Bulls, the first postponement in the NBA Tuesday and Thursday. Their games, what do they have? 10? Is it 10 players, Mark, they have in health and safety protocols?
10.
That is a huge number. Last night we saw in the Pacer game. I mean, you only had 2 officials in the game. Right. Jenny Buchek, one of their assistant coaches as well. She is out, along with Rick Carlisle, of course. So, Jake, this is the last thing I want. I mean, here we are, final month of the NFL season. The Colts had a player go on the list yesterday, Zaire Franklin. We'll get more into that a little bit later. I don't think it's extremely alarming, in terms of close contacts or things like that. But, God, I just hate that this is continuing to be a storyline. And, again, the most critical stretch of the season, we're seeing teams. The Rams overcame it last night, but, right before the game starts, starting tight end Tyler Higbee, Jalen Ramsey, their best defensive player not named Aaron Donald, they're both out because of it.
Now, when you say you hate, obviously it goes without saying, Kevin, you hate seeing it for the obvious reasons, right? Just from, all of us are exhausted and, frustrated by it, quite frankly, because you keep, I don't know that anybody knows the answers here on how to get a hold of all of this, and that's probably a topic for the fourth floor, right? But
I was going to say, selfishly, I just hate talking about it.
Yeah, and I get that. But are you exasperated? What percent of your exasperation is because you feel like the Colts have players that have not done 100% everything possible to limit it? Or are you in the camp of, I don't think that there is enough proof to say that anybody can do any one thing to limit it?
Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of me that is like, okay, the Colts have some marquee players that are more susceptible to missing time because they chose not to get vaccinated. Sure, and several prominent players. But again, the case of Zaire Franklin yesterday, Jake, he's vaccinated. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, you're vaccinated, and that means you did everything right, and you're not going to get COVID, and you're like, you can easily get COVID if you're vaccinated, clearly, and those numbers have ramped up. So I'm not going to, divide the two parties into, these people are 100%, foolproof, and the other people are not. Franklin was very honest with us back in training camp. He was like, only reason I got vaccinated is because when we go to road games, I want to go out to dinner with my family.
Yeah.
He's like, actually, the game that he pointed to was Arizona next week. He goes, the Cardinals game, I think it's either his birthday or maybe his significant other. I don't know if she's girlfriend, fiance, wife. I don't know what. Maybe it's her birthday. But she was going to travel to the game in Arizona, and he wanted to go out to dinner with her. And so that was the reason why he said he decided to get vaccinated, because he didn't want to stay in the hotel for 8 road games all year long. Now, I think the first bit of news on this, Jake, is, when Ryan Kelly tested positive for COVID, and by the way, it sounds like Ryan Kelly should be back today to practice. The first thought, I think, for many people is Carson Wentz a close contact?
Right, of course.
So when Zaire Franklin test positive yesterday, I had a lot of people being like, oh no, what does this mean for Darius Leonard?
Right.
Same position room, Leonard unvaccinated earlier this year, whatnot. I don't think the Colts will have any close contacts off of this Franklin news because, again, players were scattered all across the country during their bye week, and they got back into the building yesterday.
I think that's the thing that a lot of people are. It's interesting. I saw last night, Kevin, when the number came out, I saw reaction in Indianapolis. See, here we go. Like, everyone's returning from the bye week. Well, not everyone is. The bye, like, this is one of the last. There have been bye weeks now for how long?
Yeah,
right?
there are 4 teams that have byes last
right.
week.
I mean, teams have been coming up. Just because the Colts are coming off the bye week doesn't mean the entire NFL is coming off the bye week.
Right. Again, I don't think we're going to see a couple players show up on this list being a close contact, because it's not like this team is coming off of 4 straight days of meetings and practice where Franklin was around a bunch of his teammates. Now, I do think that when you do return from the bye week, Jake, you are outside of the facility, and we'll see if, any other players show up on the list here in the next couple of days. But yeah, I mean, you've got teams. I think Washington's got like 8 or 9 guys. Detroit's got 8 or 9 guys on the list. The Rams, as I mentioned earlier, they've got a handful of guys. So yeah, we'll see how this plays out. But again, this is just not a storyline that I want. I do think the return of Kelly is big, though, because there was potential for him to miss the New England game. It looks like his absence will be 10 days, so that would have been an asymptomatic positive test. But with how Bill Belichick, wants to do things different week in and week out, Danny Pinter still being a young center, critical to have Ryan Kelly back in the lineup.
This from our friend Aaron to me. Hey, good morning, Jake. Heard you talking about it. Steph could have broken the record last night, but he, along with his others, have fallen for this mythical feeling about New York. He had to break it on the big stage. These players are such divas. He was 5 of 15 from three-point range.
Right.
And trust me, he was going for it. He was big time going for it towards the end there.
Jake, he got a great look there.
He did.
To tie it.
I mean, there's no way that he was holding off on that because he was going for it.
You think he purposely missed that and was like, watch this, Kevin Looney's... Miles Turner can't grab a rebound.
That's exactly
Kevin Looney
right.
is going to get this tip in and whatnot. Yeah, Steph was definitely going for it.
The other thing that we're going to talk about over the course of the morning, probably more so in about 20 minutes, but this storyline that came out last night where the principals from the Metropolitan Interscholastic Conference, which is Ben Davis, Lawrence Central, obviously Carmel and Center Grove are in the mix, but Ben Davis, North Central, Lawrence North, Pike, and Warren Central got together and voted out Carmel and Center Grove of the MIC conference because word is that those 2 schools are interested in changing conferences into a more Donut County-centric conference. The short of it is this, Kevin, and we'll get way more into this later on, but I do think it is of significance because in the statement from the MIC, and again, I don't know what exactly it is that they are quoting, but this is a statement from the MIC conference. This past fall, it came to our attention that for athletic reasons, as well as a desire to, quote, culturally align, as reported in the media, with surrounding suburban schools, Carmel and Center Grove were seeking placement in a different conference. The culturally aligned comment, you could make the narrative that means the athletic culture, that they were hoping to go into conferences that better have like a focus on soccer, some of the non-main revenue sports, correct.
Yeah.
Soccer, swimming, etc. Maybe, sports culture. But when you're talking about the donut counties doing something to kind of seal themselves off from the Marion County schools, that appears to be the MIC lobbing out there the accusation that there is a hesitation to intermix with other cultures. That's how that comes off. And that's not me trying to make something out of nothing. I mean, that's certainly
that's the first thing I thought.
That certainly is how that comes off, right? And when you look at the structure of Marion County for the last 40 years, and Dick Lugar's Unigov Indianapolis, of the pollination of all cultures within this city, I think it's a watershed moment potentially, because you have two of the largest and most affluent schools. I went to North Central, a mixed school, granted, in Marion County. But I loved the going across into the different areas of Indianapolis and going and playing the middle schools and high schools of different areas and seeing kids of different socioeconomic background than I. I mean, I loved that. I think that is an invaluable part of high school athletics. I'm not sitting here saying that Carmel and Center Grove are by design trying to shield that from their students. I don't know that, and it would be unfair of me to assume that. But the implication, it appears as though for sure, with Carmel and Center Grove going into a conference that, with the exception, I believe, of Franklin Central, is entirely outside of Marion County, it does seem to seal off, if you will, again, the pollination of the donut counties and young people intermixing and intertwining with different socioeconomic backgrounds throughout high school athletics, which I think is the purpose of high school athletics. But we'll get way more into that coming up, probably about 20 minutes from now. A lot to talk about, including those topics that we just hit on. But next, after the break, it's a Big O Tire Sports Center update to get you caught up on what happened while you were sleeping, perhaps. It is Kevin and Query here, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
This is a sports town. You're a guy.
Or gal.
So 1075thefan.com is your website. From the Colts to the Pacers, from IndyCar to Indy high school sports, plus coaches' interviews, event info, free stuff, and beer.
There's no beer.
My bad. Plus blogs and podcasts from Kevin and Query, Dan Dockich, and JMV. And you can always listen to us live from anywhere on planet Earth.
24 hours a day.
All at 1075thefan.com.
Presented for the people by Caesars Sportsbook. The Goblet has dropped. Download it. Must be 21 and up.
Need Colts game tickets? Go to BullseyeEventGroup.com. Need Colts upper level tickets, end zone or 50-yard line tickets? Go to BullseyeEventGroup.com. Now you can buy Colts tickets anywhere in the stadium and make it a Colts ticket and VIP tailgate combo. Go to BullseyeEventGroup.com. Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Right now at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, save up to $170 off a set of Michelin tires with your Big O credit card. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Hi guys, Jack Hope with Hope Plumbing here. I just want to take a minute to discuss how great a career in the plumbing trade can be. What I want to do is list just some of the benefits that we offer our employees at Hope Plumbing, just to give you an idea of how good of a career it is. We offer paternity and maternity leave. I think we try really hard to provide an incredible work-life balance. We have several plumbers this year who will make well over $100,000, and the average salary for one of our plumbers is in the $90,000 range. We offer health insurance to everybody, short and long-term disability insurance. We have regular company parties. We offer free schooling. We have a 401k plan that we match. I think we have an awesome vibe and culture. You get up to a month of paid vacation, and we send all of our guys to service trainings all over the country so they can keep getting better at their jobs. If you want to hear more, give us a call at 317-641-HOPE.
We've done it again.
While other lenders are talking about raising their rates, our expert team at Golden Oak Lending has dropped rates even lower.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With the low rate of 1.875% and home values at all-time highs, you can get more cash out of your home or eliminate pricey mortgage insurance.
Call 317-706-GOLD today to get your refinance started within minutes and make no mortgage payments until next year.
After all, our team speaks mortgage and loves translating it for customers. We can save you even more money with our 1.875% rate.
Plus, you'll never pay up front for your appraisal at Golden Oak. Call 317-706-GOLD today.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
NMLS 114937, 1.875% fixed, 2.952% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
'Tis the season for more at Metro by T-Mobile. This holiday, new and existing customers can get a free Samsung Galaxy tablet. Enjoy high-speed data on your tablet for just $15 a month when you add to an existing line. That's how Metro gives you more for the holidays. More ways to connect and more reasons to celebrate with a free Samsung Galaxy tablet. Only at Metro. With rebate after 3 months of service, plus tax limited time offer, in-store only. Not available in Connecticut, Rhode Island, Miami-Dade. See store for details.
The non-stop action of tennis takes center court at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. Bet Rivers serves up an exciting tennis betting experience like no other with a massive number of live in-game betting options, including point-by-point betting. But don't just bet on the game live. Watch it live. Bet Rivers Sportsbook live streams a huge number of tour events from around the world throughout the tennis season. Try it today, and Bet Rivers will match your first deposit up to $250. It's a winner. Bet on tennis at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. Go now to betrivers.com. Must be 21 or over to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-844.
When it comes to working at Geico, our best advocates are our employees, like Michael. But since he is so focused on growing his career, we hired an actor to read his story.
If you want a job where you get out as much as you put in, Geico is the best place to work. Plus, we promote from within, so there are no ceilings placed on your opportunities.
They even offer parental leave to full-time employees. So there's nothing stopping him from going all the way to the top. But not too high. He's scared of heights.
Ready to start your career, Indy? We're hiring claim sales and service agents. Apply online today at geico.job/Indy.
Nothing says I love you like the gift of diamonds. A diamond pendant, a diamond anniversary band, a pair of diamond earrings. And around here, the diamond destination is Diamonds Direct. With our decades of experience, our worldwide connections, our legendary value, Diamonds Direct is here to help make this Christmas the most unforgettable ever. Our showcases are filled with exquisite diamond rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands. Can't miss gifts with lasting value and beauty. And now, through the end of December, you can get 4 years, 0 interest financing on any holiday purchase. If you're planning an engagement this holiday season, this special finance offer includes all of our designer engagement rings and all certified diamonds. Buy now, spread your payments over 4 years with 0 interest. Say I love you louder than ever this holiday with the gift of diamonds from Diamonds Direct. Get holiday store hours, directions, finance details, and see our online gift guide at diamondsdirect.com. Unapproved credit. Official jeweler of the Indianapolis Colts. Keystone at the Crossing.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Colts are actually going to practice today. Usually Tuesday is an off day, but with a Saturday game this week and next, they will bump everything up schedule-wise. So practice days Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Frank Reich yesterday talking about Saturday night's massive tilt with the Patriots.
Obviously very excited to be prime time at home in Lucas Oil. Really looking forward to our fans being in there. Think it's going to be an electric atmosphere Saturday night up against obviously a very good opponent, a very good AFC opponent. So we're looking forward to that challenge and looking forward to our fans, providing an electric atmosphere.
Jake, I don't recall Frank Reich using the word electric to describe the atmosphere for a game all season long. I think the coach knows full well how rowdy and how necessary that is for the Colts on Saturday night.
Yeah, listen, it still feels or sounds weird to me to say Saturday, right? Like I keep forgetting it's a Saturday night game, but
what is it, 8:15? I think that's right.
Yeah, because they're the second of a doubleheader.
Right, 8:15 kick, I believe.
Crazy as it sounds, Tom Brady's not going to be out there. Teddy Bruschi's not going to be out there. Richard Seymour's not going to be out there. Willie McGinnis is not going to be out there. But the helmets and the uniforms are the same. and people will get jazzed up for that. And not to mention, obviously, everything that goes into it. But there's an extra jolt that comes from people in Indianapolis about the Patriots, no matter what the records are. Right?
And honestly, if you're
but it is big.
If you're the Lucas Oil camera crew, show Belichick and McDaniels on the Jumbotron a few times, and that'll be enough to rile the
Kevin,
fan base up.
I get the feeling that, and this is not necessarily a credit to the Colts, it's more so what has happened around them. I mean, kudos to the Colts for putting themselves in this position. But because of all that's gone on around them, and in particular heading into, the way that last weekend ended, or Sunday ended, if the Colts were to lose this game, I don't know that that's the total death blow to their postseason. But if they were to win it, it absolutely puts them in a primo position.
Yeah, not to get too nerdy numbers, but I guess I will here. I think right now the Colts' playoff chances are 66% I saw. With a win, it would skyrocket to nearly 90. With a loss, it would drop, but I think it would be 45. So, right. To your point, Jake, yeah, it is not the death blow, but still, if you're able to win this, it all but punches your ticket into the dance. Last night, we saw the Rams hold on to beat the Cardinals. So right now, you've got 3 teams at 10-3 in the NFC: Packers, Bucks, Cardinals. In the AFC, you've got 3 teams at 9-4. That would be the Patriots, Titans, and the Chiefs. It's a big one Thursday night. Chiefs at Chargers. The Chargers dealing with a couple of COVID situations there, so that'll be something to keep an eye on, as that is a big game for the Colts. Last night we mentioned it over at Gamebridge Fieldhouse, 102-100. The Pacers led by 5 with 90 seconds to go. Steph Curry 3, Steph Curry layup, and then an offensive rebound putback. Just a horrible attempt at a rebound from Miles Turner. He was awful last night. Malcolm Brogdon, Domantas Sabonis, really good. I thought Brogdon brought it on both ends of the floor, which is saying something when you're facing Steph Curry, who did go 5 of 15 from 3, but made some big-time plays late. Here was Lloyd Pierce, interim coach for Rick Carlisle, on last night's loss.
I just thought it was, our aggression versus their execution. We were trying to obviously pay a lot of attention to their shooters, Steph specifically, and they're able to get some movement. And we had opportunities where we were in the bonus with the few minutes to go, and we weren't able to capitalize on that.
Jake, you want to sit here and be like, man, that was a fun game to watch. Pacers play really well I think they had a lead for all but 2 or 3 minutes. But when you're 12-17, you just can't really focus on that was fun, moral victories.
No, totally.
You need wins.
The thing that's frustrating for the Pacers, quite frankly, is you can only fall on moral victories for so long. And the thing that is really, I think, a challenge for Kevin Pritchard and, for Rick Carlisle and for all of them is it is true that there are a number of games that are right there in your grasp. And you look at it and you go, man, a couple of plays here, a couple of plays there. You swing 4 games, let's say, and now all of a sudden your record is different and the feeling is different. When you have the number of games that the Pacers have dropped that were within a possession or 2 in the last couple of minutes, what that comes down to, quite frankly, Kevin, is it doesn't appear as though they have a closing either mindset or player. Karis LeVert, I think, would like to be that player. He can get his own shot, but being that guy and making those shots are 2 totally different things. Steph Curry last night, there comes a time in a guy's career where he's made enough shots where his teammates know he's getting the ball and it does not affect their rhythm if it doesn't go in. Steph Curry was probably overly aggressive late in the game, whether it was the record or just simply trying to close out the game. He forced a couple of threes there late, but Golden State, that was okay within their flow because they know what he can do and he's expected to do those things, as opposed to everybody kind of standing and waiting for the guy that's going to react. You know what I mean? Who's going to be the guy? Indiana doesn't know still who that guy is.
Yeah, Steph Curry got a shot off on the final 3 possessions, hit 2 of those 3, whereas the Pacers don't even get a look on their final possession. Miles Turner, obviously very vocal about wanting an expanded role. Last night is exactly why the Pacers have never given him that expanded role. 1 of 10 from the field. Boy, if you're Golden State and you're looking at Miles Turner trade value, Don't know if you were too impressed by what you saw last night. This kind of concludes a big homestand for the Pacers. They had 6 straight at home, and I think 9 of 12 at home. I was thinking 9-3, Jake, 8-4. You kind of needed something in that realm to feel good about yourselves. 6-6 for the Pacers as they return back from that Western trip. They've got Milwaukee tomorrow night. That is an 8 o'clock tip. Chris Middleton for the Bucks did leave last night's loss for them with a hyperextended knee, so it doesn't look like Middleton will play tomorrow night. The Bucks have not lost at home since November 5th, so that challenge speaks for itself, but it does look like the Bucks could be down one of their best players. College basketball, Purdue falls to number 3 in the AP poll. Travion Williams, co-Big Ten Player of the Week. Crossroads Classic coming up this Saturday. We're going to have various guests from each of the 4 teams on over the next few days. It'll be Purdue and Butler at noon, and then IU Notre Dame at 2:30. I think it's finals week at all of those respective colleges, so no games during the week. Everything.
That really stopped
Saturday.
me when I was in school during finals week to make sure I didn't attend the events.
Jake's spending the night at the library again. Don't think that was happening there.
Now, one thing I will say that I did do a lot, my buddy Dave Steinberg and this is an open disclaimer, Kevin, I know it will shock you. I wasn't what you would call overly studious in college.
Yeah, again.
But I wasn't.
Cue the breaking news sounder there, Mark.
But I was not a party guy. I actually, when I did study and or prepare papers and that kind of thing, I would do it on Saturday evenings from like 7 to 10 p.m. because the campus was desolate. And I liked the fact that no one was around. And that was back in the day. I'm old enough that you had to go to, if you wanted to use like the internet, you went to the computer lab in the Union to like the 60 computers that were there that had the internet.
Yeah.
Nobody had like laptops with the internet.
Right. Yeah. Are you dialing it up?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. An email to another school was like 7 paragraphs long for the email address.
Yeah, exactly. I'm leaving Kansas. Are you there for me?
That's right.
One quick college football note: George Karlaftis, David Bell officially going pro. Both of them, by the way, All-Americans yesterday named. Karlaftis first team, first team. Karlaftis third team. Neither of them will play in the Music City Bowl. We saw Notre Dame, Kyle Hamilton, Kyron Williams, both of them opting out as well. So I think it's kind of a popular thing to do with both of those
David
players.
Bell, you see slotting where?
I think second round is where I've seen most of it.
I think that's probably fair.
Karlaftis, Jake, I mean, he's like top 15 pick I've seen, which obviously tremendous honor for him. So we'll see how all of that plays out here as bowl season gets underway this week.
When we come back, this was a pretty big story, I think, Kevin, talking about the Carmel Center Grove move out of the MIC. Do you have the story in front of you in terms of just kind of giving the bones of what exactly took place here?
Yeah, basically the MIC president, I think it was a race for who can get their story out first, if I'm guessing.
It feels
a little
that
bit
way,
of Kevin
doesn't it?
Pritchard, Miles Turner from last week. The MIC president's basically saying that they voted Carmel and Center Grove out. This was a story, Jake, and we'll talk about this more in a second. I had heard some whispers about this in the fall. There is a big event that happened in the fall that I'm curious if this spurred the timing to happen a little bit quicker that we can hit on as well. But yeah, it does sound like this was in the making. Center Grove and Carmel leaving the MIC and deciding, not officially yet, but I think all indications are they will join the, Hoosier Crossroads?
Correct.
Conference. So that would be HSC, Fisher, Zionsville, Westfield, Noblesville, Franklin Central, Avon, Brownsburg. I think that covers.
So this is something that has implication beyond, in my opinion, just like the athletic balance of 2 major powers leaving one big conference, going to another. And we'll examine and explore and explain further on that when we return to Kevin and Query, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Titans Steelers and Packers Ravens in an NFL doubleheader. Sunday at noon on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Light up the holidays with a gift from Shane Company.
Elegant two-tone blue topaz earrings and the matching bracelet to complete the look, because she completes you.
A stylish bangle bracelet covered in a rainbow of vibrant sapphires, because you want to give her something that'll bring her joy every day.
A show-stopping cocktail ring with a vibrant yellow citrine, because she's your sunshine.
Come to Shane Company for the broadest selection of unique, fine jewelry. We have gifts in every price range. One of my favorites is a gorgeous 14-karat gold bar necklace with 3 rows of diamonds for $885. It's something she can wear day or night. She'll love all that sparkle. Visit our store or check out our online gift guide for memorable holiday gifts that'll be treasured for a lifetime. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
This is how we reinvent banking.
Say the money's gone tight in your checking account, then you crack your phone and the screen goes out. No shame in your game, we got the assist. Huntington Bank, lending money with a twist. Come to us for extra cash when you're strapped, cause it's free when you auto pay it back. Introducing Standby Cash. Extra cash when you need it, free when you auto pay it back. Huntington, welcome.
Without automatic payments, 12% APR. Eligibility requirements apply. Amount available is based on customer eligibility. Learn more at huntington.com/standbycash.
Now, you don't get to play as much as the offense and defense, but it must be cool to be called special teams. It just sounds good. What team are you on? The special team. That's tight, right? Oh, if you're a fan of special teams, you can just bet on those. My sportsbook app has prop bets, so have at it, people. It's a special app, people!
Must be 21. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
A few weeks back, I was lucky enough to chat with the owners of Golden Oak Lending, and this is no BS, but they are great people simply looking to help you and I save money. Our friends at Golden Oak Lending are ready to help right now and get you refinanced today. Among the many things I love about Golden Oak, no cost for an appraisal. Simply just picking up the phone, seeing if they can meet your goals. Costs absolutely nothing. And who you talk to is not a call center around the country. It is a local loan officer right here in our backyard. Golden Oak's experienced local loan officers make refinancing and buying a breeze, guiding you through every step to ensure you never get lost in jargon and numbers. Even if you haven't done anything to your house, your home's value has increased in the last year alone, giving you the opportunity to use that equity to finish a home project, pay off credit cards, or even consolidate bills. No matter your unique situation or goals, you have an expert lending partner for life in Golden Oak Lending. Head to goldenoaklending.com right now to see what your home equity can do for you. NMLS 114937, 1.875% fixed, 2.952% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
This holiday season, come celebrate with Big Red Liquors. They're gearing up for their 50th anniversary year in business in 2022. And as your go-to beer, wine, and spirits destination, they're ready to serve you. They're fully stocked on all your favorites with red-hot deals for VIPs and the fastest, friendliest checkout in the business. Big Red Liquors is also a great place to find a gift that anyone would love, whether a bourbon expert, wine connoisseur, or craft beer fanatic. If beer's what you're looking for, they can help with fantastic prices on ice-cold Bud, Miller, Coors, and Busch. Need the perfect spirit? Then come grab a bottle of Jameson Irish Whiskey. On sale, only $19.99. That's Jameson Irish Whiskey on sale for only $19.99 with VIP membership. Big Red Liquors has been locally owned and operated for 50 years and can't wait to serve you for 50 more. Big Red Liquors, your one-stop shop for fun this holiday season.
Indy's #1 for new country is 97.1 Hank FM.
Maybe some things last forever after all.
Starting your day with 97 minutes of commercial-free new country every weekday morning at 8:30 with Joey and Mindy. More new country and fewer commercials means more of this.
Hey, it's Luke Combs.
This is Carrie Underwood.
Hey, y'all, it's Luke Bryan.
Indy's #1 for new country is
97.1 Hank FM.
Hun, have you seen this internet bill? Why'd the price go up?
I don't know. Did you change anything?
No. Did you? You switched us to those fancy coffee beans. Maybe you're on a roll, making everything more expensive. Did you suddenly inherit money you didn't tell me about?
Whoa.
If your internet bill is giving you trust issues, you're not a bad partner. You just need a straightforward price.
Maybe we switch to decaf.
Get AT&T Fiber. Equipment fees are included, and with no price increase at 12 months, there are no surprises. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/faster.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
We're going to have Sal Palantonio from ESPN on in about 20 minutes. Covered numerous Colts-Patriots games in his day, so had a fun conversation with him a few weeks back, so looking forward to catching up with Sal again here. Jake, we were talking about this a little bit in the opening segment. Some big news here locally, high school sports, really big news with Carmel and Center Grove. Announcement yesterday that the MIC principals, right? I assume? Yes. The principals of the MIC schools voting Carmel and Center Grove out of the MIC. That would be what? Your two Lawrence schools, North Central, Warren, Pike. Who am I missing?
Ben Davis.
So, yeah, they vote Carmel and Center Grove out of the MIC. Correct me if I'm wrong. We have seen a statement from the MIC, but no individual statements from Jim Inskeep, Carmel's AD, or Center Grove's leadership.
Correct.
And
to my knowledge, as of now, that's correct. Yes.
That MIC statement was not a PR cookie cutter. Hey, let's, everybody is holding hands on this exit.
Yeah, the final statement from the MIC, which again, the Metropolitan Interscholastic Conference, right? And that is, as Kevin had mentioned, Ben Davis, as of now, Carmel, Center Grove, North Central, Lawrence North, Pike, and Warren Central. And I get it. I know that there are those of you that are listening and you're like, well, I don't have kids that are high school athletes. My kids aren't in high school. It's been a long time. This doesn't affect me. And I understand that. It's been 30 years since I've been in high school. Open disclaimer, at a MIC school, it's been a long time since I've been in a North Central athletic event, even though I'm an alum there. But this has implications from a societal standpoint, in my opinion, beyond just the athletic playing fields. Now, the MIC did use in their statement the following in the statement from the MIC conference. This past fall, it came to our attention that for athletic reasons, as well as a desire to culturally align, as reported in the media, with surrounding suburban schools, Carmel and Center Grove were seeking placement in a different conference. They conclude their two-page statement by saying, we believe Indianapolis, Indiana, and the county needs unification, not separation. The MIC is built on understanding our differences and learning from each other. Our goals, as outlined by the founders of the MIC, are that the conference provides an environment in which sportsmanship is valued and displayed. It goes on to say a few things like that. This is where I want to be very clear here, Kevin. I don't have any reason to believe, I will cast benefit of the doubt here. It would be disingenuous for me to say that Center Grove and Carmel are making this move because they want to remain in a homogenized racial environment for their athletic teams to participate against other schools. That would be irresponsible of me to automatically assume, right? I do know Jim Inskeep. I like Jim Inskeep. I know Eric Moore, the head football coach at Center Grove. Ton of respect for him. Like him as a guy and as a coach. Center Grove had an incident that took place that we could say was an isolated, unfortunate judgment of a young person, of a kid posting a picture in blackface after the state championship. I assume Center Grove addressed that. To me, what is interesting is the following. In 1970, Indianapolis and Marion County adopted what was known as Unigov, which still exists today. Unigov was, if you will, the brain trust of Richard Lugar, essentially. And what Unigov did was it took all of the consolidated city-county governments and put it into one in Marion County. If you look at the list of populations of cities in the United States, and you look at it and you go, wait a minute, how is Indianapolis the 11th largest city? I didn't know Indianapolis is larger than Miami. I didn't know Indianapolis is larger than Dallas, or whatever it might be. It's because so much of the small municipalities within Marion County were absorbed as Indianapolis, Nora and Lawrence and Beech Grove and all of these areas in 1970, with the idea being that both financially, obviously, and culturally, everything was going into the same kitty so that everybody could enjoy Indianapolis and bolstering for the best city that we could be to put all resources in for one, right? That led to, as you have naturally within any progression of cities, there is always suburban flight. And in Indianapolis, eventually people went to what we call the donut counties, the counties that border Marion County. Hamilton County, Hendricks County, Hancock County, Johnson County, Boone County. Those areas became suburban areas that at one time were fairly small, and obviously just through natural progression and natural growth of a city become bigger. What, Kevin, to me is of concern here, having nothing to do with the motivation of this. And I will go with benefit of the doubt here in saying this probably is when they say we want to culturally align. I think those schools probably are indeed saying schools that have the same sports culture as we, that put a lot of resource into soccer and swimming and the Olympic sports and not just football and basketball like a Warren or a Ben Davis or a North Central. Although North Central is very good in tennis and soccer, but you get what I'm saying. There was a shooting that took place between Carmel and Ben Davis at Ben Davis High School, not between the schools, but while the two schools were participating on the football field, there was a shooting just outside the stadium at Ben Davis this past fall. Does that factor into this decision of Carmel saying, I think we'd rather have our kids playing other schools? Absolutely, that could possibly be a factor. But what is of concern to me is, and this is at the fault of nobody, and I'm not even saying that it's a designed, intended negative. But if you look at the city of Indianapolis, Kevin, and the Indianapolis that you grew up in, Circle Center Mall, Union Station, 30 years ago, Market Square Arena into the RCA Dome, into Lucas Oil Stadium, a continued growth and progression of downtown amenities enjoyed by people of this city. And what do we have now for a number of reasons, but growing concern about what appears to be a dilapidation or a neglect within the downtown area of Indianapolis from an entertainment and amenities standpoint. And with that, what you had was you still had affluent areas and affluent people of Carmel and Center Grove that were coming into, I'm not saying that this means they will never again come into Marion County. Don't get me wrong. But it instills in the young people growing up in these areas, it limits the amount of interaction and just exposure at a young and an impressionable age of intermixing with, competing against, and seeing kids from different areas and different parts of Indianapolis and the pollination of the donut counties into Marion County. If you go, Carmel's done a fabulous job. Their Palladium, the downtown area, all of that. Same with Fishers. You go to Fishers, the downtown Fishers, it's wonderful. But that is unfortunately now making it less necessary for the people of the affluent donut counties, as was originally designed by Unigov, to come in and spend a great amount of their money in Marion County that is so incredibly dependent upon the tax revenue that comes from the entertainment and hospitality taxes to pay off the $633 million of existing tax loans to Lucas Oil Stadium. When you have people that live outside of Indianapolis proper that are keeping their money directly outside of Indianapolis proper. And that's, again, I'm not saying any of this is with ill intent, but it's the reality of the fact that this could potentially, Kevin, be a watershed moment because it is further solidifying the boundaries and borders from Unigov, Indianapolis, to the rest of the areas that are auxiliary to financially complement an area right here outside our window that now desperately more than ever needs that entertainment money to come in and come through. And there's becoming fewer and fewer reasons for people in those donut counties, like the schools that they would be joining, Avon, Brownsburg, Fishers, Hamilton Southeastern. Franklin Central is the only that's technically within Marion County there. It's keeping the haves away from the have-nots to an extent. Not by ill-intended design, but that's the implication of it that's of concern to me.
Yeah, obviously a lot of places to go with that. I feel like high school, a big part of high school, Jake, is about getting out of your bubble and experience things that you haven't grown up in. And so I do think that this move lends those two schools in Carmel and Center Grove specifically to being a little bit more confined into that bubble, which is disappointing. I also think this, Jake, I think it was back during training camp, honestly. I remember hearing some of this chatter back then. So did the shooting that occur at Ben Davis High School, was that the final straw or something? Who knows? But I don't want people to think that, like, as soon as that happened, all of a sudden Carmel parents at a school board meeting were like, we got to get out of there. Like, we had heard, or at least I personally had heard some of this chatter dating back several months before that happened. Now, and we're seeing some of these comments, and Shane points out here, this is about sports and the community and the culture with sports.
It may be.
Sports programs get money from attendance and concessions. Mixed schools have horrible numbers for traveling sports fans. Varsity, JV, and freshmen, it's about money. To Shane's point, Jake, you got to think Carmel and Center Grove would come out with some sort of statement of what they mean by the culturally aligned comment that the MIC had yesterday. Because when I see the phrase culturally aligned, my first thought is not sports.
Of course.
So I'm surprised we haven't seen something.
There's no doubt
from the Carmel Center Grove side of things, if indeed they want to clarify what the MIC mentioned yesterday.
There's no doubt that the MIC went there, right?
Oh, yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And do I think that Carmel and Center Grove are guilty of that? I have no idea. But I do know that typically people that are innocent of something and wrongly accused usually pretty quickly respond to it.
Right, for sure.
But, for people that are saying, like, well, the Star, this is the Star being a left. Look, the Star just quoted what the MIC is saying. If you have an issue, take it with them. Don't shoot the messenger. Take the issue with the MIC. But again, I want to make very, very clear here. It is not my intent this morning to cast stones on the intended motivation of somebody who has not yet said what their motivation was, but rather to simply say what I think the perhaps even overlooked implication or consequence of this action could be. And again, it's part of a natural progression of cities. It doesn't mean I have to like it, but it's the reality of it. But I do think that Indianapolis right now is teetering a little bit on, the detachment really hurting the downtown nucleus that people have come to enjoy for so many years now. For 20 years, people have loved coming to downtown Indianapolis because of the restaurants that are here, the bars that are here, and notably the largest publicly funded sports venue in the United States of America that was so dependent upon the hospitality taxes that came from rental cars, restaurants, and bars downtown. If you now have self-sufficiency within the suburban towns around Indianapolis, you are suddenly cutting the main artery of revenue that comes in to feeding that building that people have enjoyed. That's simply my concern.
I grew up in Carmel. Jake went to Cathedral for high school. A big reason why I did not go to Carmel High School was, my parents have taught, and my dad taught in Ben Davis, Wayne Township for 30 years. My mom taught in Carmel Clay Schools and HSC for the same amount of time. The student-to-teacher ratio at that high school is astronomical. Carmel.
Right.
And Carmel's stubbornness in general of not building a second high school has always just been like, what are we doing here?
Well, that's culturally for athletics, right?
Right. And I know this is a different kind of, we're kind of veering off into a different topic here when I bring that up. But there's been a stubbornness from Carmel not to want to jeopardize where they are from an athletic standpoint. I also, from an HCC conference standpoint, and again, the chatter is that Carmel and Center Grove would like to join that conference. Hearing that principals will vote on that in January from the HCC. Carmel and Center Grove making proposal today to join that conference. Do you think it's a slam dunk? HCC principals say Carmel Center Grove, welcome?
Yeah, I think so, especially at this point, because basically what it comes down to is the MIC got wind of the fact that these two schools wanted to see other people. And so they got together and said, okay, well, if you want to see other people, no problem, we're broken up. So now they're going to have to go into another conference because it sounds like the MIC won't have them. 239-1070, Brian joins us. Hi, Brian, good morning to you.
Yes, thanks for touching on this subject. Long-time high school fan here, but I think the MIC is making a mistake. I think they should be expanding. I think they should add, a cathedral or another powerhouse. losing these two schools, I don't know. I mean, they did. You saw the Terre Haute schools couldn't make it, so that was a no-brainer. But to let these two go, it just doesn't make any sense. And you guys are touching some good points, and I appreciate you talking about it.
I appreciate it, Brian. Good point too.
Don't you think Carmel and Center Grove were going to leave?
That's
though,
it.
Jake?
I think it was they nipped it in the bud, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if we'll break up with you before you can to us. Real quick, let's squeeze in Jeff. Hi, Jeff. Good morning.
Hey guys. So just a quick background, so it's not coming out of left field. I went to Center Grove. My wife went to Ben Davis. Well, I think that the biggest point that you guys have touched on earlier, right, is, I mean, it is literally always about the money, right? And when you look at when I was at Center Grove 18, 20 years ago, Center Grove was much more, from a size standpoint, from a resources standpoint, equal to a Ben Davis and a Pike and a, Lawrence Central and Franklin Central and those schools, right? Where we looked at these outlier, smaller, upcoming schools like an Avon or a Brownsburg or a Zionsville very differently 20 years ago, right? Where those size dynamics have completely shifted, right? Where now Center Grove and Avon and Carmel, those schools are now so much bigger that those schools probably do much more from a sports standpoint. And I think the gate revenue, it's probably not the only reason, right? But I think the one issue that I kind of take issue with what you guys were saying, right, is I work in the construction and design industry downtown. The whole notion that there's this dilapidation or decline of downtown that has anything to do other than the pandemic that we've been in for 2 years is a complete farce. They cannot build apartments and hotels fast enough downtown to keep up with the demand.
So you're telling me that right now that downtown housing occupancy is at 100%? Sorry about that. I don't know how he got hung up on because I wanted a response there. I don't believe that. I don't work in construction, admittedly, but I don't believe that. To pandemic, a big part of it? Absolutely, no question. But there are, Kevin, a million reasons why people are not coming downtown.
To his point about the Donut County schools, the HCC schools.
Excellent point there.
Yeah, a lot different than they were 10, 15 years ago, definitely, without a doubt. Jake, where to me, I get it. JV, freshman sports, will Carmel being and Center Grove being in the HCC change attendance and all of that? Sure. I hate it from an experience standpoint because I am a firm believer high school, those are the most pivotal shaping years of your life.
No question.
And neglecting these kids from experiencing things outside of their bubble, Kevin, I think is a huge bummer. To this
day, when I drive around central Indiana, to this day, I'm 49 years old. I will occasionally be driving and I pass a middle school and I'm like, oh, that's where that was? I remember playing South Wayne or Belzer or Guyan or Lincoln, Ben Davis Junior High, whatever it might be, and going in and playing against and seeing and understanding and appreciating kids that were different than we were, kids that socioeconomically were either more advantaged or more disadvantaged, either one. Kids that were more athletically inclined, kids that weren't, kids that were better trained, kids that weren't. All of those things benefited and enriched the experience of myself and my peers. I'm not saying that Carmel and Center Grove are intently trying to get away from that. I'm not making that accusation, but it is a byproduct perhaps of this particular move, and that makes me sad. And in addition, in finality to it, what makes me sad is, in the end, kids that are wondering why their experiences might be changing are hearing exactly what people are saying. It's about money. And I realize that that's what makes the world go round, but there are some lessons that don't always have to be driven that way in our minds, or in our hearts, I should say, but in our minds we know that it actually is.
And again, nothing official on Carmel Center Grove, the HCC. We'll see how that plays out, and definitely a topic that we can hit on once we hear kind of statements from those sides, because I think this is just kind of the start of it, Jake, because clearly based off our phone lines, this is a pretty popular topic.
We get a hold of Sal Paolantonio, Mark? All right, Sal Paolantonio of ESPN will join us next. It's Kevin and Query here on 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
You're a mean one, Belichick.
We're on to Indianapolis.
You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel,
And
Belichick.
we're going to have to play better football. Next question.
question. Pro tip, his heart will not grow 3 sizes, and there will be booing down in Indianapolis. The Patriots battle the Colts Saturday. Pregame at 5:30, kickoff at 8:20.
Yeah, we're really excited for this game.
Your home for Colts football, 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Armor Air is more than a heating and cooling company. They cover it all. Their service fee is only $29. ArmorAir.com. Day or night, they do what's right.
Need Colts game tickets? Go to BullseyeEventGroup.com. Need Colts upper level tickets, end zone or 50-yard line tickets? Go to BullseyeEventGroup.com. Now you can buy Colts tickets anywhere in the stadium and make it a Colts ticket and VIP tailgate combo. Go to BullseyeEventGroup.com.
BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks, welcomes you with a special offer on the NBA. Simply place a $10 moneyline wager on any game. If either team hits a three-pointer, you'll win $200 in free bets, regardless of your bet's outcome. Just use the bonus code, TheFan200, that's all one word, capital T, capital F, when you make your first bet. Enjoy NBA action like never before with BetMGM's live betting options, boosted odds specials, and daily promotions all season long. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com, and again, use that bonus code. It's TheFan200, all one word, to win $200 in free bets if a three-pointer is made in the game you wager on. Nothing beats a win at BetMGM. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Indiana only. New customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable free bets or site credit. Free bets expire 7 days from issuance. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, it's JMV at Race Trash Service. They're all about protecting the environment while bringing cost savings to you. Natural resources are going up in price, and landfill space is disappearing. So Race is committed to preserving the Hoosier environment and serving Central Indiana with efficient, cost-effective, and responsible waste removal and recycling solutions. They're one of the largest recyclers in the state of Indiana with customer rebates on paper, cardboard, and so much more. Visit racetrash.com to see how they can bring recycling solutions to your organization. Hey, it's JMV, and if you're like me, getting a good night's sleep is really important. But for years, I was sleeping horribly because my snoring. It was affecting my health and my daily life. Everything I tried failed until I went to Aurora Sleep Clinic. At Aurora Sleep Clinic, they set me up with a simple, comfortable, and affordable custom-fit mouthpiece. I wear it at night, and it has incredibly stopped my snoring. I sleep great and wake up refreshed. I love it, and so does my wife. Visit StopYourSnoreNow.com to schedule your free consultation today.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. These days, everything seems to cost so much. How are you supposed to get by with prices so high? Here's an idea. Mortgage interest rates are sitting near these all-time low levels. And with an easy refinance, our clients, on average, save over $350 a month. Start saving today and apply online for your easy refinance at thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
It's Kevin and Query.
We'll have some classes at times.
Hey, we're calling the plays, all right? You gotta run the ball. Sticks down there. Pass, block. We'll run the ball. Can we run it down there? This place. We run it down. Yeah, Jeff. Okay, so we will. All right, when we call pass plays, block.
On 93.5.
Boom, baby.
And 107.5. The Fan.
Let's go.
Yeah, there you go.
When we got Sal Palantonio, that is the exact feeling in this studio. He is on the Payless Liquors hotline with us right now. Sal, we enjoyed the conversation a few weeks ago, and we appreciate you hopping back on with us as we get to the stretch run of the NFL season.
Oh, it's totally my pleasure. You guys do a great job. Love the city of Indianapolis, and I'm a big fan of Carson Wentz and Frank Reich. So, I'm very interested in this football game, even though I will be in the city of brotherly shove, my hometown, this weekend for the Washington football team and the showdown at the confluence of I-95 and the Schuylkill Expressway and the concrete jungle, as we like to call it. I wish I was Saturday night at Lucas Oil Stadium, but I'm not.
Well, Sal, I do want to start, before we get to Colts Patriots, I do want to start with Carson. I'm pretty sure we are either near or at the 1-year anniversary of him getting benched last year in Philly and pretty much his career ending there. And now here you are, and I would say you'd be hard-pressed to find a Colts fan that doesn't think he is the franchise quarterback of the future. What has been your thoughts on the Carson Wentz you've seen here reunited with Frank Reich in Indianapolis?
reunited, and it feels so good, right? I've always loved Carson because he's a tremendous competitor, a tough guy, wants to win, works super hard, family man, a man of faith. I've always had a special place in my career for Carson Wentz because he was. When he was drafted, I did the first interview with him. I interviewed him when he got his knee busted up and he couldn't participate in the Super Bowl. And, I felt bad for him then. And things just went south in Philadelphia. They could never get it righted. And it was a sad ending here. But, the bottom line for Carson Wentz, all that is, melodrama. The bottom line for Carson Wentz is, hey, man, you're playing the Patriots. It's Saturday Night Football. It's coast to coast around the world. Don't throw 2 interceptions. Mm-hmm. Don't give the football away like you did against the Bucs a couple of weeks ago. Don't give Bill Belichick an opportunity to run it up and down the field and just give him short field position. Whatever you do in this game, do not throw the football away and get rid of the football. Don't take those easy sacks like you did against the Bucs a couple of weeks ago. This is an important game for Carson Wentz. That's all that other stuff is, it's a fun story. It's a sad story, whatever you want to call it. Now he's got this football team on the doorstep of going to the postseason in the place where he wanted to be, with a coach that he wanted to be with. Be reckless with the football, and that's what they'll remember.
Sal Paolantonio is our guest on the Payless Liquors Hotline. Sal, let me ask you if you
I'm
had to.
I'm not wrong about that. Am I wrong about that? Don't hate me for that. I'm not wrong. Am I wrong?
No, I don't think you're wrong. The question I was going to ask is, in your opinion, because you've been around and you've seen Carson Wentz, kind of the evolution of this quarterback, right? And if you want to call it this Lazarus-like, resurgence for him here in terms of coming back from everything the way it ended in Philadelphia. In your opinion, is that more in terms of what we're seeing from Carson Wentz right now about him feeling a comfort and being with Frank Reich and just the symbiotic nature those two enjoy? Or is it simply a change of scenery, and notably a change of scenery away from what can be one of the most hostile places to play if things aren't going your way in Philadelphia?
I'm going to give you 2 words. You ready? I'm going to boil it all down. Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. Pretty hard to argue that, right?
No, seriously, Jonathan Taylor in the MVP conversation, as he should be. The way they have designed that running game. You watch them on film, and we have done pieces on the NFL Matchup Show, and I know you guys watched the show. And Greg Cosell did a couple of weeks ago a very good breakdown of the schematics, the brilliant schematics of the Colts rushing attack. And you can check it out. It's on demand. You can find it. The breakdown of the schematics of that running attack, you have an offensive line that's working in concert with great timing, with a running back who's got power and speed and cutback ability, and has the entire package. And that has been Carson Wentz's best friend. Carson Wentz's worst enemy has been his propensity to throw the ball to the other team in critical situations, in critical football games. So, and I've talked to Frank Reich about this. The last time I was in Indy, I asked him about his talking points to Carson Wentz prior to that football game. And he said, it was against Tennessee. You remember, I was there. And he said to me pregame in a text, he said, take care of the football. Don't try to do too much. And the exact opposite happened, and you guys got dump trucked by Tennessee, got swept by Tennessee. Not good.
Sal Paolantonio from ESPN. You see him on NFL Matchup. Greg Cosell, Matt Bowen, a must-watch every week, especially this time of year. He joins us here on Kevin and Query. Sal, you've covered a lot of Colts-Patriots games in your day. 8 straight losses for the Colts in this rivalry, and I say that in quotes, by an average of 18 points per loss.
I did not know that. Wow.
Here locally, Venom is still alive and well, especially after what Josh McDaniels did a few years ago.
Yep.
Curious, nationally, people hear Colts Patriots. Does it have the same sort of pulse?
Well, it's on Saturday Night Football across the country for a reason. There's definitely snap, crackle, pop. There's no question. Carson Wentz is a big star. Frank Reich, everybody loves Frank Reich. He's beloved throughout the NFL, throughout pro football community. You always want to see a guy like Frank Reich going up against the evil empire and Darth Vader, the evil hoodie. You want to see that. Who's going to stop the Pats, right? Who's going to stop the Patriots? With a rookie quarterback who was the 5th overall quarterback taken in the first round, Mac Jones, where they just went up to Buffalo and eviscerated a team that had Super Bowl aspirations. That happened on national TV on Monday Night Football. Everybody wants to see, okay, do the Colts have a plan to stop the Patriots from being the number 1 overall seed, or are we traveling to Foxborough for the AFC Championship game? So absolutely major snap, crackle, and pop for this football game.
Sal, I'm going to assume, Sal Palantoni is our guest. Like most of us, and for me, it's been years since I've done so, but I've played the board game Monopoly, right? Like you've played Monopoly before, right?
Yeah, we used to play full contact Monopoly in our neighborhood.
That's Philadelphia, right?
I was going to say, you guys got some toughness.
Marvin Harrison played that as well.
Easy.
So, Sal.
Yeah, Roman Catholic High School, that's what they played. They played full contact Monopoly, I can tell you.
Okay, so
game.
if in the NFL right now, and there's a lot of fluctuation here, but we'll just say that Arizona and we'll say New England, if that's Boardwalk and Park Place, okay, from the national standpoint, the Colts are seen as like which property? Like, are they as good as the green properties? Or are they more like in that the red and orange properties? Like, what tier are we talking here in terms of where you see Indianapolis right now in December?
Here's the deal. For me, listen, I'm only coming to you from the perspective of a reporter who's covered the league on the road for 29 years, 27 of them with ESPN. Indianapolis, the JW Marriott, the Lucas Oil Stadium, that downtown, that's Park Place, man. That means, I'm living high and mighty, living large, loving it. It's a fantastic place to go. We love it. Tampa would be Boardwalk because, you get the sunshine, you get the beach. Arizona would be Marvin Gardens, obviously, no question, right? I don't know what you would call Foxborough. I'm going to go maybe the parking spot somewhere. Or
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's go straight to jail, do not pass go, right?
No, I don't want to say jail because that'll get me in trouble. It's the parking spot where you can buy your way out, right? You go to your fellow board member players on the board and you say, "Hey, what if I put 500 or 1,000 in the middle? Can I move on?" Or I think that's where it is for a lot of people. Foxborough's man.
Yeah, it's halfway between Boston and Providence, right? That's that you're a veteran covering Patriots games if you have to actually fly into Providence because it's like a little more convenient and less expensive. But what about the Colts themselves?
Foxborough's really hard place to play. It's severely cold. The fan base is as tough and as knowledgeable as any in the league. Their home field advantage has always been unbelievable in the playoffs. It's a very intimidating place to play, and teams do not want to go there. They don't. They just don't.
Can the Colts as a team find their way into that tier or are they already there, in your opinion, with New England, with,
Kansas City?
Kansas City, yeah. We forget about Kansas City, but Kansas City also.
Yeah, so what's their schedule going forward? They still have Las Vegas. They have to go to Arizona, right? And what's the last game, Jayville?
Yeah,
correct.
JV game to end the year.
Yeah, so, it's not an easy road for them. It's not an easy road. They're the 6th seed now or the 7th seed? I think they're like on the cusp, right?
6.
Yeah, 6.
Mm-hmm. Moved up 6.
Yeah, they're 6th seed. So, how they acquit themselves in this game is very important, I think. To answer your question in terms of where they are in the tier. So, Kansas City is a super hot team. They're playing better defensively because they're rushing the passer with 4 and dropping 6 or 7 into coverage. Sometimes they'll bring a 5th pass rusher, but they're getting after the quarterback with 4. Steve Spagnuolo has managed to get the most out of what he's got there, and that's why they're on this run. And they have taken a frenetic Patrick Mahomes and anchored him to the pocket and said, throw on rhythm, guys will be open. You don't need to run around in order to make passing plays. And that is really what's transformed that team from a very good team into a team that's making a Super Bowl run. I don't have to tell you what's going on with the Patriots. You know, they'll put 5 and 6 and 7 offensive linemen, 2 tight ends on the field, and they will run it down your throat. They've got 2 very good backs who are north-south backs. This is a Darius Leonard game Saturday night. This is a Darius Leonard game. He's got to come with great film study and understanding of what the Patriots do. He's got to come with that Darius Leonard moxie and attitude. He's got to be a leader on the field. There's going to be some bad plays for the Colts in the run game. They have to stay with it on run defense, have a stick-to-itiveness to it. It's going to be a relentless 4-quarter game. You know, I'm sounding like a broken record here, but you know, for Darius Leonard and that defense, and he's the leader of the team. It's all about how much moxie they bring for 4 quarters.
Sal Paolantonio, again from ESPN, NFL matchup with Greg Cosell, Sal, and Matt Bowen. A great watch week in and week out. Sal, last one from me. I thought a few weeks ago on the Manning cast, Aqib Talib was terrific in explaining what life is really like playing for Bill Belichick and New England. From people that you have talked to around that organization, I think we often think, I guess, going back to the prison statement, it's run like a prison. Talib made it clear it's not like that at all. How would you describe playing for Bill Belichick as like?
You know, I heard Mike Lombardi, Bill Belichick's acolyte, who's worked with Bill for many years in Cleveland and New England, describe it like this. I'm just going to, steal it from him, and I'm going to give him full credit. It's like going to the Navy SEALs. You have to totally buy in. It's not like prison at all. It's a culture that is built through, do you believe in the mission? Okay, the answer is yes. If you buy into the mission, then you have to follow the mission statement. You have to follow the mission guidelines. That's total heart, body, mind, soul concentration on what we do, and you have to accept, okay, this is our plan. We're not going to take any dissenters. We're not going to take any dissenters because you already agreed that you're buying in. So I liken it to a military operation. I was in the military. I was in the Navy. I went to officer candidate school and boot camp. And as you know, Bill Belichick's father, Steve, coached at the U.S. Naval Academy for many, many years.
Congrats on Navy's win, Sal.
Yeah, it was a huge upset. Coach Ken did a great job, I thought. Really managed that game great. They had a lot of interesting plays. Now, how about Jamie's interview on CBS after the game where he got Navy middle linebacker to admit that the snap to him on the fake punt was a mistake.
That was great.
But then he was ready for it, and the ball was snapped to his upper left shoulder. He catches it, and then he breaks a tackle and jumps over another guy for the first down. What a great play! I think it's one of the top plays of the year for sure in any sport. At any rate, it's a military operation. Belichick learned from Parcells. Parcells coached at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. His father, Steve, coached at Annapolis. So if you buy into the mission statement, then you're willing to give up mind, body, and soul to the mission. And I think that's what it's about.
Sal, last question from me, and then I'll let you get to breakfast at D'Alessandro's or somewhere there in Philadelphia.
Nice, I like it. Good call.
You mentioned Colts Jaguars to end the season. Is it possible the Indianapolis Colts are the last team that Urban Meyer coaches against as an NFL coach this year?
Oh. Say that again. Give me that question again.
The Colts conclude their season in Jacksonville against the Jaguars.
Yes.
Is it possible that is Urban Meyer's final game as an NFL head coach?
I was wondering how you phrased that question. I wanted to make sure. Is it possible that it's his last game.
Okay, will it be his last game with Jacksonville?
I think it's very possible. I think it's highly probable. I don't think it's definite yet. I'm not sure. I don't think the reporting is fully done on that, but he certainly looks like a guy who's looking for an exit. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean,
To go where, though? Or to just end it?
I don't. He just doesn't look like he's got his heart into it at this point. The way he's answering questions, I'm not sure. It might be in the best interest of everybody to move forward for sure. And then Dougie P, get ready for Doug Peterson, Jacksonville. Just putting it out there. I'm just saying that's a perfect spot for him. He's got a house down in the Fort Lauderdale area. Quick hop, skip, and a jump right up the coast.
Got a hell of a young quarterback waiting on him.
His wife Jeannie can stay in the state of Florida. Play plenty of golf in his spare time if he wants to. Absolutely perfect spot. Got a young quarterback. Coach twice a year against Frank Reich. Hey, now we're talking. Now we're talking. That'll be some must-see TV at Lucas Oil Stadium. When Doug Peterson comes back. Hey, you know where I'll be. I was
going to say.
Marriott for that one, baby.
Yeah, we'll be sharing breakfast together up in the old Lucas Oil press box if that's the case.
D'Alessandro's maybe.
Sal, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and hopefully we can do this again come playoff time.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Thanks for having me on the show, and we'll see what happens on Saturday night. I'll make a prediction right here. If Carson Wentz does not turn the football over, the Colts will beat the Patriots.
All right.
I like it. All right, Sal, thank you for the time, man.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye now.
Sal Paolantonio right there on the Payless Liquors hotline. One thing to clarify, I know he brought up the Tampa Bay game where Wentz had some turnovers. I think he meant Tennessee, that home game. That was the game he was at earlier this season. Let's do a Big O Tire Sports Center update here on The Fan.
This Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Again, practice begins today for the Colts, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week with a Saturday game. Yesterday, Bill Belichick gave his thoughts on the opponent for the Patriots this week, and in particular, the Colts rushing attack, the number one ranked rushing attack in the NFL.
The backs have a good feel for the line, I think, and Taylor's a hard guy to tackle. He's strong, runs through a lot of arm tackles, and then he's very fast, and not many players defensively that can catch him. So if he gets out in the open, he can turn that 8 or 10-yard run into a 60-yard touchdown.
He's always so exciting, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. I mean, literally just edge of your seat every time he starts to talk. New England's not been a great rushing defense team this season, so Belichick's going to commit a lot of resources, but how that storyline plays out will certainly be huge for Saturday night. Again, Ryan Kelly expected back today off the COVID list. Frank Reich mentioned that yesterday. Zaire Franklin, special teams captain, plays defensively against the run at linebacker. He is on the COVID list, is vaccinated, so could be back at some point this week. Again, Jake, we talked about it a little bit earlier. I'm not expecting close contacts out of the Zaire Franklin news. It was the bye week, and him and his wife, fiance, whatever, had a baby shower. I think this is an isolated sort of incident. It's not like, hey, all the linebackers were together for 4 or 5 days.
So basically everybody got tested, presumably, upon entry back into the building. Correct. Off the bye, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute. You tested positive.
Yeah. But it's not like that Connexon tracer is going to buzz for other guys in that building.
Can we get those tracers in here? Be fun, right?
Are you nervous for me?
No, we're more than 6 feet from each other, right? We are here for more than 15 minutes, I will say that.
Yeah, we are. Patriots have won 7 in a row. They are undefeated 6-0 on the road. Right now, the Colts an early favorite this week. All right, last night at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, the Pacers cannot close against Steph Curry and the Warriors, 102-100. It was an awesome game, really. But right now, when the Pacers are where they're at standings-wise, the moral victories cannot be celebrated whatsoever. I don't understand why the Brogdon-Sabonis game, Jake, that was not the final play. I get that Draymond Green switched out. I still think Sabonis, with how he's played over the last 2 weeks, how Brogdon was playing last night, those two needed to be a part of it.
Steph Curry, I thought, was forcing things a little bit down the stretch in the last couple of minutes, and understandably so. I mean, everybody in the building's holding their breath. He was 5 for 15 from three-point range. He needed 1 to tie, 2 to break the record. And, you know, in the last couple of minutes, he forced a couple of them. But you can get away with that when you're Steph Curry because everybody on your roster knows where it's going and are anticipating what happens if it doesn't go in. Pacers, on the other hand, again, late game situations just need to figure out without having to think about it. There has to be just an immediate reaction that everybody knows where the ball's going. And it seems like Indiana still is trying to figure out what exactly to do in late game situations, and it hurts them.
Miles Turner, absolutely awful last night. 1 of 10 from the field, 0 of 6 from behind the arc. Had his hands on a rebound that could have given the Pacers a chance to win the game at the end. He coughed it up. Kevin Looney had a layup that ended up being the game-winning basket. Golden State had to spend the night here in Indy, Jake. Mechanical issue with their plane. So they are actually traveling this morning.
They
to
stay
take
out there
on
at
the
the Howard Johnson's by the old airport, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah,
get some Shoney's Big Boy and get up in the morning and head out.
Draymond and Steph, closing down the hotel bar out there.
That's right.
At the airport.
We get another PBR here, please.
Pacers got the Bucks tomorrow night. It's an 8:00 tip from Milwaukee, and then the Pistons on a back-to-back. Milwaukee could be without Chris Middleton for that.
I spent a lot of time in the Hyatt as a kid skulking around getting autographs of NBA players before the Conrad was built. I'm not going to lie.
You know what, Jake? I went out after the show yesterday. That crowd outside of the Conrad.
I saw your picture.
Didn't see a lot of young teenage kids wearing Steph Curry jerseys. I saw a lot of adults saying, how quickly can we get this online to sell?
Listen, if you are one of these sweatpant-wearing fat guys in your 50s that's running around and you have a trash bag with 19 different mini basketballs in it to get them sold, and you're pushing 9-year-old kids out of the way, it's time to reprioritize.
Steph, don't put my name on there. I don't want to. No, Johnny, right. I want just your name on it.
That's right. Come on. So sad.
Let's talk a little Colts when we come back. Obviously a big one on Saturday night.
Big one coming up. Colts Patriots preview and a further dive into it when we return to Kevin and Query.
Crew Car Wash wash books make the perfect gift for anyone on your list. The Ultimate Book is on sale now for buy 4 washes, get 2 free. Purchased at any Crew Car Wash location today.
Hey, it's Big Joe for Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert. You know, I called Ryan a couple of years ago at 317-550-1515, but you can also go to the website, thehomeloanexpert.com. And what I wanted to do, I wanted to lower my term, and I also wanted to pay less money every single month. And I got both of those things accomplished, but you can also do a cash out refinance. If you're a service member and go to HeroLoan.com, Ryan Kelly can help you out there. And also, if you belong to a union, any union, like the Teamsters or the electrical workers or the pipe fitters or the carpenters or even the police officers. If you belong to a union and you close a loan with the home loan expert, they'll go ahead and give you a $500 gift card at closing. You can't beat Ryan Kelly. And right now, with the financial sector in such flux, we've got interest rates on the rise because of inflation. You just don't know what's going to happen out of Washington these days. You need to make sure that you are protected. Get a hold of Ryan Kelly right now. Do it today. 317-550-1515 or go to thehomeloanexpert.com.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Score gifts for your entire list with the gift of Twin Peaks. From e-gift cards to hats and merch, they've got you covered. Visit online at twinpeaksrestaurant.com/shop. Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
If it's after lunch, I probably wouldn't have fed him to the Titans. I get a little ornery when I'm hungry, and timing is everything, people. That's why my Sportsbook app has live in-game betting for football. I don't care if the game has already started. If the time to make your move is in the second half, go for it. Caesar's got to. Caesar likes to move freely. That's why I'm partial to the total.
Must be 21. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
When it comes to working at Geico, our best advocates are our employees, like Maxine. But since she is so focused on growing her career, we hired an actor to read her story.
At Geico, I love mentoring the new associates to help them make this a career and not just a job.
And with new opportunities and job stability, Geico has been helping people grow their careers for over 75 years. The only downside, she still hasn't met the gecko. Where are you, fella?
Ready to start your career, Indy? We're hiring claim sales and service agents. Apply online today at geico.job/Indy.
At Kroger, we know the holiday season is going to be special for everyone. So use the Kroger app to get personalized coupons, weekly deals, and rewards like fuel points. That way you'll get all the fresh holiday specialties you love at prices that are lower than low. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Get more ways to save at the Buy 5 or More Save $1 each sale. Just buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Quiet Moments with Dan Dockich.
Who's to blame for last night's Indiana debacle? Blame everybody. They got out hustled in the second half. And you know what the sorry thing is? You all expect it now. Indiana used to expect to make the Final Four when you win 3 games. Indiana now gets up 20. We all expect them to lose. That's the sorriest thing.
Dan Dockich, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. It's Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
It is Kevin and Query on a Tuesday morning. Looks like a gorgeous day in the Circle City.
It's supposed to be like 65 today, Kevin. You know that? I don't know. I just know, let's face it, we live in Indianapolis. Anytime it's over 30, it feels like 65, right?
It's a win in mid-December. That could be a little roof opening up.
But, listen.
You've seen the Colts handle the elements pretty well.
I haven't seen the forecast yet for Saturday, have you?
I think it's supposed to dip a little bit. I was a little tongue-in-cheek on the old roof open. You know, I love a Jim Irsay tweet about 24 hours before kickoff. It really gets me going there about the roof. Jake, Saturday night, it's, in my opinion, this is the biggest game Lucas Oil Stadium has had in a regular season standpoint in the history of that stadium. I know that might sound hyperbole to some. You go back to the Peyton game in 2013.
I was going to say, Peyton Manning's return?
Well, hear me out. The 2013 Peyton game, you've got Carmel moms crying because Peyton's back in the stadium. Those same Carmel moms are cussing Belichick out Saturday night. I think you add the venom and you add in the playoff standings and the mid-December feel to it, and you put all of that together in a blender.
I get it.
This is the biggest home regular season game this franchise has seen in the history of Lucas Oil.
We are at the point in the season, after the Colts' slow start, Kevin, where the reality is that every week now is going to be the biggest game of the year, right? Because the margin for error, the Colts have put themselves in position where the margin for error is a little bit wider, but not by much.
Right.
And what's interesting to me is they're now in a position, courtesy of the 11th hour on Sunday, 2 former Patriot quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo and Tom Brady, getting big overtime wins that opens the door for Indianapolis to slide into the provisional 6th spot. Now they go against a young quarterback in New England in Mac Jones, who we all kind of wondered what exactly when Bill Belichick made the move from Cam Newton to go with this rookie that, well, he's just a product of Alabama, right? I mean, he was playing behind a huge line. Look, he's doing exactly what that system needs him to do. And I think we're beyond the point now of talking about rookie quarterback. Can you get him rattled? He's settled in. New England is winning. This, to me, Kevin, this season, last year was the Tom Brady vindication year. I can win away from Bill Belichick.
Which pissed Belichick off.
Correct. This year now is the Bill Belichick vindication year. I can win away from Tom Brady.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what an irony that Indianapolis could be one of those stumbling blocks in making it more difficult for them as they are cruising their way towards perhaps the number 1 seed in the AFC. So there is a lot, in fact, in play. I think the challenge when it comes to New England, Kevin, as we have known, is just doing what you do and not trying to get caught up in adjusting to what you know are going to be different looks from Belichick than what you've seen out of New England. And for the Colts, it's simple, right? Jonathan Taylor, don't turn the ball over.
Obviously from a playoff standing standpoint, Jake, let's say the Dolphins were 9-4. It's a massive game for the Colts, just strictly off of the AFC. But I think when you throw in the whole rival, the whole Patriots spiel to it, and yes, it's not Brady, it's not Manning, but Bill Belichick is still on that sidelines, and Josh McDaniels is still on that sidelines, and it's his first time inside of Lucas Oil Stadium since he left you at the altar. This might sound stupid, but I'm a sucker for environments, atmospheres. If I am the in-game experience people for the Colts Lucas Oil, I'm showing Belichick and McDaniels on that Jumbotron, and I'm riling up that fan base.
I get that.
As much as possible.
Think, obviously, the Josh McDaniels thing is interesting because if you had, let's say Josh McDaniels had not left the Colts at the altar, and he's the head coach, who's the quarterback of the Colts right now? Do you go out and get Carson Wentz if you don't have Frank Reich already here?
That's a great question. Maybe McDaniels coaxes Ballard into committing to more of a younger guy.
That's possible, right?
You'd had Andrew his first year. Jacoby,
it changes it changes the entire trajectory of where things went.
Yeah. Is Josh McDaniels still your head coach?
I think that for Colts fans, especially if Colts fans, and not all of them are totally bought in yet on Carson Wentz, but if they are, then I think that Colts fans, the angst over the Josh McDaniel thing, the sour taste of that, I think has been softened a little bit. Like, I don't know that people still dislike him, but I don't know that it's like I can't believe that's the guy that screwed this all up for us, because all's well that kind of ended well, right?
Fair.
In terms of that. But the reality is that the Patriots are still, and this is a hard pill for Colts fans to swallow, okay? This is the marquee rival game for the Indianapolis Colts fan base. The New England Patriots, the hated Patriots, the evil doctor in the lab, Bill Belichick, that came up with all kinds of formulas against Peyton Manning. But I don't know that Patriots fans see the Colts that way.
No way.
It's Colts. We beat them like 8 years in a row. You know what I mean? So it is probably bigger one-sided. I know Chris Ballard said the rivalry's back. Is it?
No.
This is going to be, if it is, then the Colts need to show it, right? The reason it's a big game, aside from everything that is on the line for the Colts keeping themselves in that provisional playoff spot, is the fact that for the Colts, it is still the same brand of what has been their nemesis for so long. The Colts haven't upheld that into the bargain for New England. But for the Colts,
and Belichick's still there.
Well, that's what I mean. The brand, he is the brand, right?
Yeah.
He is the brand. And look, I think Jeff Saturday said it really well. The challenge with the Patriots is this, and Carson Wentz, is aware of this.
By the way, Jeff Saturday's jumping up and down on the TV behind you right now.
Is he really?
Yeah. He's great on TV.
He is. Well, he's great on radio.
He's great on radio.
But he said it best when I asked him. I remember going out, Kevin, I don't know, whatever year it was. The Colts were getting ready to play the Patriots in New England. And I was working at Channel 6 at the time, so it had to be pre-2007. And so Channel 6 sends me out for the advance the week of the game. So I'm in there, and I'm in Bill Belichick's press conference, and I'm like, I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to get the great question here, right? I'm going to get the great soundbite. I'm going to be the guy that knocks down Belichick and gets a great soundbite. So I ask him some question about, like, how hard is it to game plan against Peyton Manning, yada, yada, yada. And he literally says, he's a great player. You do what you got to do. Like real Bill Belichick answer, right?
Thanks for coming, Jake.
Right. And so at that time, I was convinced that they were coming up with different defenses to limit the Colts offense. Jeff Saturday, I think, said it very well. The defense doesn't necessarily change snap to snap for New England. The defense might change quarter to quarter. Once the quarter gets underway, they're basically doing the same execution. They just disguise it in the way that they come to the line so much that it takes you, it's hieroglyphics as to what you're about to experience. And I would think that Frank Reich has gone over that a million times with Carson Wentz, but they are trying to confuse you. And they're trying to confuse you to the point of getting away from what you want to do. And of all weeks, Kevin, this is the most important week for the Colts to say to themselves, we're not going to be suckered into that. We are going to do what we do as a football team. We are going to do what we are built to do. We're going to give the ball to Jonathan Taylor. We're going to run him off of Quentin Nelson. We're going to run him up the middle or let him see where the gaps open up. And then when it is given to us, we're going to have Carson Wentz go to the air. But I think it is critically important that the Colts not try to outthink themselves on Saturday.
Yeah, you definitely want to commit to your strength. And again, we've debated that a whole lot this year about how big that commitment has been. But I think you got to be ready to counter. You got to be ready to play left-handed. Now, New England has not stopped the run at the level that I think a lot of people assume. They've been a really middle-of-the-pack run defense. Now, based off the Belichick comment that you heard earlier, you know full well, again, resources going to be committed like no other to limit Taylor. When you go back to the rivalry comment, Jake, the Colts have been the little brother to the Patriots. I mean, it's 8 straight losses.
And here's the thing.
It's an average of 18 points in those 8. It's not like these games have been close. So for Ballard to say that in 2018, and I get why he said that, you did lose to them that year. It was kind of a crazy Thursday night game. The Colts had a bunch of injuries now. The fact that you get them in your own building and you're able to send a message in prime time where Belichick, I do think Belichick circles this one a little bit more than maybe the New England fan base circles it. And I think there is a little bit of a point to be made of like, I still remember Deflategate. And I still remember how you guys attacked, and I say that in quotes, our organization there.
I get
and
that.
I think he does think about that.
Although, I mean, to an extent, different regime, different era. But yeah, I mean, I get your point. I will say this. In terms of the Colts being the Patriots' little brother, okay? The Patriots then are like Alec Baldwin. There's like 7 little brothers, right? Because to the Patriots, they might think of the Colts as little brother, but they also think of the Jets that way. They think of the Dolphins that way. They think of, I mean, to be fair, this is a franchise that, again, there are several teams that consider New England their biggest nemesis. But which team, as we've talked about, does New England consider their biggest nemesis? I don't know that it's Indianapolis, but for Belichick himself, yes, there is history there where I think any time that he can knock them down a peg, he's more than happy to do so, right? I think there's respect, but I also think that he is well aware of what, even though it's a different administration, what the Colts franchise tried to do to his.
And I fully acknowledge history means little to the 53 guys on both teams. Like,
of course.
I don't even know if Carson Wentz could drive a car the last time the Colts beat the Patriots. Right. So, like, I fully acknowledge that. But when you talk about the 65,000 inside of Lucas Oil Stadium, and at times, Jake, I'll be totally honest, I've been fortunate to go to a lot of road venues around the NFL. The Colts do not have a top whatever intimidating environment. That will not be the case Saturday night. I fully expect raucous environment, a lot of hostility, and I think the bye week adds to that. I think Saturday night adds to that.
Well, that's the prime time. Indianapolis as a city, okay?
We don't get prime time.
Kevin, I'm old enough to remember the first time the Colts had a prime time game at the old RCA Dome with Eric Dickerson on Halloween night, 1988. And this place went bonkers because we all of a sudden were in the epicenter of the sports world. And this is a city that had the Indy 500, but we were the epicenter of the sports world. And it was so surreal to see the NFL with the primetime, big-time lights. And maybe we got a little bit immune to that over time. But a Saturday night game, late in the year, holiday season approaching, arch rival here, playoffs on the line, or at least securing yourselves for it. Everything is there for you are correct for this powder keg of energy at Lucas Oil Stadium.
It's an awesome script, awesome setting.
Awesome setting and awesome script. We'll continue talking about it as the Colts and Patriots get set. Saturday night, primetime showdown. It's Kevin and Query, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Well, Ryan Kelly is the home loan expert, and you can reach him at 317-550-1515 or just go to thehomeloanexpert.com. And, Ryan, there are a lot of Hoosier families out there right now worried about money. You offer a cash-out refinance option that can help take those worries away.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you, Big Joe, it's probably one of our most popular loans right now. Sure, we're doing a lot of purchases and helping people get into the home of their dreams. And we're doing a lot of those easy rate and term refinances where we just go in and lower your interest rate. But I mean it when I tell you, probably the most popular loan we're doing right now is that cash out refinance. And why wouldn't it be? Think about it. Mortgage interest rates are sitting near these 50-year lows, and we're locking loans in the low 2% range. And home values are skyrocketing, which means you have a ton of equity just sitting there. Apply for an easy cash out refinance. Pay off those high interest rate credit cards. Make those home improvement projects a reality, or just stick some cash in the bank. Apply today at thehomeloanexpert.com. Thanks, Big Joe.
You know, my daughter just turned 18 months over the weekend, and, you know, I'm still feeling a little bit of pain from picking her up and trying to carry her around the old house. And if you really want to change your ways from a pain standpoint, you've got to call QC Kinetics. Do you really want to go through another year of that awful joint pain? Well, you don't have to do it. You can resolve yourself and get moving again for 2022. It's time to call QC Kinetics. You've got non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain, and we're talking about lasting results using natural biologics, no surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, or downtime. Don't let them keep giving you steroids, and don't let them tell you that surgery is your only option. You get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics. You can do it now and imagine life in 2022 without pain. So call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics, 463-235-7160. That's 463-235-7160.
My crusade for the perfect pizza crust has led me here, pining over a backyard wood-fired oven. But how do I bake this build into my budget? Where can I get some solid guidance on my finances? Who can help me understand if I have the dough for this?
A little financial advice. At Regions, we know that's important because your Life Green checking account comes with Greenprint, financial planning with a banker who will help you create a personal budget and live in the moment. Make your appointment at regions.com/Greenprint. Regions Bank, member FDIC.
Want to make this the most unforgettable Christmas? Diamonds Direct is here to help with our most dazzling selection ever and 4 years zero-interest financing. Imagine the look in her eyes opening that box and seeing an elegant diamond tennis bracelet or a stunning pair of diamond earrings. Diamonds Direct showcases are fully stocked with the classics, as well as the latest trendy fashion jewelry from world-class designers. Unique, one-of-a-kind items you can't find anywhere else. And if you need help, our experts will guide you, respecting your price range and offering tips on the can't-miss gifts for this season. You'll get the unbeatable value price Diamonds Direct is known for. Plus, spread your payments over 4 years, 48 whole months with zero interest. This December, give the gift that sends the message of love like nothing else. A beautiful, meaningful, and memorable piece of jewelry from Diamonds Direct. Get holiday store hours, directions, finance details, and see our online gift guide at diamondsdirect.com. On approved credit.
Hun, have you seen this internet bill? Why'd the price go up?
I don't know. Did you change anything?
No. Did you? You switched us to those fancy coffee beans. Maybe you're on a roll, making everything more expensive. Did you suddenly inherit money you didn't tell me about?
Whoa.
If your internet bill is giving you trust issues, you're not a bad partner. You just need a straightforward price.
Maybe we switch to decaf.
Get AT&T Fiber. Equipment fees are included, and with no price increase at 12 months, there are no surprises. Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/faster.
Caesar's greetings, people. Caesar's Sportsbook wishes sports fans everywhere a happy, healthy, and parlay-filled holiday season. Your app is ready, Emperor. Download it. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 plus.
The Colts return from the bye week to host the New England Patriots. Coverage Saturday at 5:30 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Yes, so you better run. You got the world on its knees. You're taking all that you please. You want more, but you get nothing from me. You like the burden we bear. You love the hate that we share. You want more, but you get nothing from me. But it means
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
We are back. Kevin and Query here on a Tuesday morning. We had Sal Palantonio on earlier. That'll be up on the podcast. And talking about Saturday night, and the magnitude of this one speaks for itself. Phone lines are open as well. 317-239-1070. Curious Colts fans, in their opinion of, is this still one that they circle?
Do you think
on the calendar?
It's possible, because this is what I'd really like to see. Okay, what I would really like to see. sports is about nostalgia. I think a lot of people root for teams because they're nostalgic about it, right? Like, oh man, I love it. Why do you like that team? That was my dad's favorite team. His first team. I played for that team in Little League. You know what? First game I went to was that team. And it's also about sometimes paying homage to, Jim Irsay oftentimes will have former players come out and Ring of Honor, and and he even talks about the Baltimore Colts, and people are like, who is Lenny Moore? Can they just run the fake punt once?
Oh, no.
In this game?
Jake, stop.
Just once? It's the greatest play in the history of the NFL.
We just had 5 cars go off 465 after that tournament.
It's
can't
the greatest.
say that.
It is the greatest moment in the history of the National Football League.
You know what?
It's the only time Chris Collinsworth didn't even have anything to say, right?
Yeah, he slid out of the picture
What
after
in
he saw that.
the world?
Well,
I mean, he's like, what is going on?
You know what a lot of people think about that play, Jake? And
that's the greatest play in the history of the NFL? Yes, I know.
For those that might forget, which I'm shocked anyone would forget that, 2015 Colts Patriots Sunday Night Football. The Colts were in that game, very much in that game.
I know.
Chuck Pagano says, "Watch this. Let's dial up a fake punt." After Clayton Geathers had gotten hurt in the game, the guy who was supposed to run the fake punt,
right?
And so he's not even in the game. That was the last time the Colts hosted a Sunday or Monday night home primetime game, and I think a lot of people say, "Hey, NFL," they say to the Colts, "We're grounding you for 6 seasons for putting that on national television." So I think it's an NFL punishment.
It's the greatest play in the history of the NFL.
The Indianapolis Colts.
239-1070 is the telephone number. Colin will join the program now. Hi, Colin. Good morning to you.
Hey, morning, guys. I'm a Colts fan from Colorado. I listen every day. First-time caller.
Wait a minute. Are you in Colorado right now?
Let's go,
I am.
Colin.
I am in Johnstown, Colorado, sitting in my truck getting ready to go lay some pipe.
Wow.
Man.
Now, you mean that for work or anyway?
Yeah,
it's 10 till 7 there.
Yes,
all right.
sir.
So give me your thoughts on this game,
here.
Colin.
Well, my thoughts on this game, it's like basically like the Super Bowl to me. Growing up a Colts fan as a kid, the Patriots were definitely a nemesis. And I do remember Josh McDaniels, and I feel like Belichick definitely circles this game, and that's why they beat us by 18 points every time. It's a massive game, and I cannot wait.
How old are you, Colin?
I'm 30.
Okay, so you were in the thick of it growing up. I mean, probably cried, honestly, at some of the Brady performances.
To go back to something you said, my dad was a Colts fan, and he died November 3rd, 2006, and 4 months later, the Colts won the Super Bowl. And now it's 15. Super impressionable, and ever since then, I watch every Sunday.
Well, Colin, 2 things. Number 1, condolences to you some 6 weeks ago on the 15-year mark of the loss of your father. And number 2, and most importantly, remind all of your Bronco fans in the state of Colorado that yet still to this day, the Denver Broncos have never won a Super Bowl without a quarterback drafted by the Colts.
God.
I'm just telling you.
Boy, I'm sure Broncos fans are really going to be like, "Oh, man, he got me on that one."
Well, hey, it's a fabulous stat, is it not?
Let's go to Ramon. Ramon, thoughts on Saturday night?
I'll tell you how you guys doing this morning. With all the sports and everything being wide open, Milwaukee winning last year, Atlanta winning baseball, various other teams winning hockey. You got Tampa Bay and all this stuff like that. The Colts need to take advantage of this time frame. There's no clear-cut favorite in the AFC. Except for maybe now Kansas City, who's gotten hot. So they need to show up real good and stop being the stepchild to the Patriots and Belichick. People need to temper their little enthusiasm a little bit. Remember, he faced Peyton Manning for years. I don't think Winston's Peyton Manning. So they got to get in there and play smash mouth. Don't be pretty. Get in there and get down dirty and nasty, and get in there, and then we'll see what they really got into them, because that's what's going to win football. Not having Wentz out there trying to throw 50 times a game. So thank you.
Ramon, Frank Reich might need you in the locker room pregame there. I believe Adam Vinatieri banging the anvil, if I'm not mistaken, on Saturday. That adds a little Patriots Colts twist to it. To Ramon's point, Jake, about just getting in the dance and you have a shot. You know this full well. Think back to the Peyton Manning era. Where would that 2006 Super Bowl team rank on the best teams in that era?
There were 2 better.
At least.
Right. I think the team that lost, I think the best Colts team was probably the one that lost to Pittsburgh.
That'd be 05, Vanderjack
Second best
Shank.
might be the one that lost to New Orleans, the Hank Baskett year, and then third would be the one that actually got it done.
Yeah, I think 07 was all the year after was that was the Chargers, if I'm not mistaken.
To Ramon's point, Kevin, I laughed. I will be the first to admit I was a cynic. And a month ago when Frank Reich said, why not us? I laughed. And I thought, come on, man. Not to say that I didn't think they were better than what their initial record indicated. But I do think now that the door has been cracked open a little bit. He's probably right. And I don't say that because I think that the Colts are a juggernaut as much as there is such competitive balance, especially within the AFC. And the Colts, when you can run the football like they can and you have the complementary passing game to go with it, and they're probably going to need more than just Michael Pittman. You know, they're going to need to continue to get moments from Ashton Doolin, and Zach Pascal is going to have to find a little more consistency again.
You need that third skill guy.
Jack Doyle, for sure. But the pieces are there. The map is there for them, yes. The door has been cracked. Why not us? I thought it was crazy a month ago. But now they are one of a handful of franchises that can say it, but it doesn't come with the lunacy that it did 4 weeks ago.
And to Ramon's point, too, you go back to that Peyton Manning Super Bowl run, if you would have told Colts fans, the Colts are going to go on the road and not score a touchdown in a playoff game, and you're going to go to the Super Bowl. They'd say, wait, what? But that's what happened against Baltimore. So I think with how the AFC is right now, the fact that you have the ability in your own building to take a massive step forward in getting back into the postseason and putting yourself, and I think kind of sending a message to yourself as well, in like, all right, that Buffalo game, that wasn't just a Mother Nature impacted that game. This is the hottest team in the AFC, having won 7 in a row in New England, a team that hasn't lost away from home all season long. And then you throw the cherry on top of them being your biggest rival.
Right.
That adds up to this just incredible kind of Hollywood unscripted nature to Saturday night. And again, it goes back to the earlier comment of I try very hard not to speak in hyperbole. Since this building was opened in 2008, I cannot think of a more venom-filled playoff stake regular season game. And now, what is it, 13 years?
You know, I go back to me, the biggest thing, Kevin, and this is what's dangerous about New England. Do you try to overthink it? You're going against one of the great taskmasters in the history of the NFL in Bill Belichick.
You mean from a coaching standpoint, like Frank overthinking things?
Correct. Mm-hmm. Is there a danger for the Colts in trying to outthink Bill Belichick? And I think sometimes teams start playing chess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When Belichick just keeps playing checkers,
AKA the fake punt.
Correct.
I mean,
correct.
In all seriousness,
you're right.
There was no need for that. Joe Wright was on with Dan yesterday and mentioned that. Like, we were in the game. You know, like that's what Joe was saying at that point. I don't think Frank will fall down into that trap. I mean, obviously Frank in the Super Bowl, you know, he's had success. Granted, the meeting here in 2018, or the meeting I should say in Foxborough in 2018, didn't go their way. That's a very fair storyline to bring up. I don't think that'll be the case, but you do wonder, Jake, does the bye week almost hurt you in that sense? You have all this time. Do you overthink it with more time on your hands?
The other big story, aside from the Colts and the Patriots, which is huge, coming up on Saturday from last night that we talked about earlier this morning, got good reaction and would like to reopen that conversation, and that is the news that Center Grove and Carmel are apparently going to be leaving the conference with which they have played for so many years in high school athletics. And I think it's a move that goes beyond, at no fault really of anybody in terms of anything with intent. It does have implications from a societal standpoint, I think, beyond the playing field. That explanation and the pop quiz coming up in 35 minutes here on Kevin and Query, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
This is what you missed if you haven't been listening to Indy's Home for Sports.
This is a monster day for Indianapolis.
Thought it was going to be possible.
On your radio.
And it's an over-the-shoulder grab into the end zone for a touchdown.
On the Fan app. You're listening to the best of Kevin and Query on your smart speaker.
You're listening to 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
On your phone.
I mean, what? That is a lot of cash.
I guess you're all out of excuses. Listen anytime you want.
Just listen to that.
To the Fan.
Need Colts game tickets? Go to BullseyeEventGroup.com. Need Colts upper level tickets, end zone or 50-yard line tickets? Go to BullseyeEventGroup.com. Now you can buy Colts tickets anywhere in the stadium and make it a Colts ticket and VIP tailgate combo. Go to BullseyeEventGroup.com. Sports Center updates on the Fan are brought to you by Big O Tires. Right now at your locally owned and operated Big O Tires, save up to $170 off a set of Michelin tires with your Big O credit card. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Light up the holidays with an unforgettable gift from Shane Company.
A dazzling mosaic ring covered with diamonds and blue sapphires. Because you really want to knock it out of the park this year.
Princess cut diamond solitaire earrings. Because you want her to have the very best.
A 14-karat gold Miami Cuban chain. Because he's the strongest link.
Come to Shane Company for the largest selection of classic gifts from hundreds of dollars to thousands. Unique fine jewelry made with natural diamonds, rubies, and sapphires selected for their beauty. We have the highest standards for quality and craftsmanship. Whether it's your first holiday together or you've shared a lifetime of love, your gift will be truly special. Visit our store or check out our online gift guide for memorable holiday gifts that'll be treasured for a lifetime. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Bet Rivers Sportsbook is ready to make this football season one to remember. All season long, you can score at Bet Rivers Sportsbook with free bets, odds boosts, and more. With player props, thousands of game lines, and live in-game betting, Bet Rivers Sportsbook delivers a best-in-class sports betting experience and has an experienced customer service team to back it up. Visit Bet Rivers Sportsbook today and bet this football season with a local trusted team that puts you first. Go to BetRivers.com and be a winner. Partner of French Lick Casino Resort. Must be 21 or over to play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448. Playable only in Indiana.
We've done it again.
Golden Oak Lending has dropped rates even lower.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With a 1.875% rate and home values up, you can get more cash out now.
Call 317-706-GOLD today and make no mortgage payments until next year.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
NMLS 114937, 1.875% fixed, 2.952% APR, FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan. It's Kevin and Query.
If we die together.
Yeah.
You can get it done. You can get it done. What's more, you gotta get it done.
On 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
The 9 o'clock hour on a Tuesday morning here, Kevin and Query. We've had a ton of Colts chatter. Some Pacers as well from last night. Steph Curry remains 1 3-pointer away from tying Ray Allen, 2 away from the record. It'll be Reggie Miller, ironically, on the call tonight as TNT has that broadcast of Warriors and Knicks in Madison Square Garden. And Jake, this time of year, I think it's rare for a high school story to rotate in as prominently as this one has into our, I would say rundown, but Lord knows you haven't made a rundown in the history of radio.
That is true.
Maybe ever.
That is true.
That was one of the things Derek shared with me before you and I became a pairing. But we had some big news in the high school sports landscape yesterday. If you don't mind, lay the land for those that might have missed this.
Okay, and I want to make very clear here. I'm not, it is unfair for me, and it would be irresponsible of me to immediately draw a conclusion or cast intent or any sort of judgment on the timelines or motivations of what has taken place. But here is what we know. The MIC conference in Central Indiana has been one of the dominant ones. It is Ben Davis, Carmel, Center Grove, North Central, Lawrence Central, Lawrence North, Pike, and Warren Central.
You could make the argument football-wise, one of the most dominant in the Midwest.
Correct. And you know, for basketball, for that standpoint.
For sure. Yeah.
Last night, the MIC, the Metropolitan Interscholastic Conference, issued a statement that the principals had gotten together and unanimously voted for the exit of Carmel and Center Grove. Now, this stems from, to put it in generic terms, basically they got together and said, we have gotten word that Carmel and Center Grove are wanting to see other people, so we're just going to go ahead and let them know that we're broken up. In the statement where the MIC explained the vote, and I'm only reading part of this statement, it's a very long statement, but they said, and I quote, This past fall, it came to our attention that for athletic reasons, as well as a desire to, quote, culturally align, end quote, as reported in the media, with surrounding suburban schools, Carmel and Center Grove were seeking placement in a different conference. They later went on to, at the end of the statement, talk about the fact that they believe from an athletic standpoint, I'm quoting the Mick here, we believe Indianapolis, Indiana, and the country needs unification, not separation. The Mick is built on understanding our differences and learning from each other. And then it goes on in somewhat of an accusatory fashion, implying that this was a move that was motivated by Carmel or Center Grove to get away from demographics different than they. If you look at the conference in which they would be joining, Avon, Brownsburg, Fishers, Hamilton Southeastern, Noblesville, Westfield, and Zionsville. Franklin Central is the only Marion County school in the conference that Center Grove and Carmel would now be going into. It is not my place, nor yours, Kevin, to immediately assign intent to Carmel or Center Grove until we have an understanding of what, if they said it, quote, culturally aligned specifically means. It is entirely possible that that means schools that have the same cultural experience, athletically speaking, in terms of the non-stick and ball sports and emphasis on those that they desire. That's entirely possible. What concerns me as somebody who has a great love and passion for this city, and again, not saying any of it is ill-intended, in 1970, Indianapolis became a unique community based on Unigov, which was a vision of Richard Lugar's Indianapolis. And what Unigov did was it took the different municipalities that were incorporated within Indianapolis's boundaries and brought it all together as one, thus unifying the municipalities of Indianapolis. Indianapolis, based on sports and other such things, saw a great revitalization, and then beyond just revitalization, vitalization itself in the downtown quadrant. A lot of that, the RCA Dome into Lucas Oil Stadium, was based on the hospitality taxes. By that I mean hotels, which wouldn't be applicable for people coming in from Carmel, but restaurants, bars, etc., through sports and entertainment in downtown Indianapolis. And while people might have lived in Carmel or Center Grove or Westfield or Zionsville, their dollars from a tax standpoint were benefiting and helping the core of our community, downtown Indianapolis, right? Carmel now has a Palladium. It has a wonderful downtown area and its own community. Fishers has an incredible downtown area on 116th Street, and they are becoming more self-sufficient. And that's wonderful. That's what you want for any of your children, to become self-sufficient. The problem is, the implication here is that if you get the two biggest communities, high schools, that are now in a conference that does not bleed or pollinate, for the most part, into Marion County, it's the subliminal, the subconscious that you are giving our young people of sealing off the donut counties from Marion County and having the epicenter of our metropolitan area, of our metroplex, downtown Indianapolis, somewhat suffer from it because out of sight, out of mind. And now all of a sudden, you are subconsciously, and again, I'm not saying by intent, but my concern is that young people going to Carmel or Center Grove are being denied the opportunity to go and play on athletic fields and enter into the schools of and sit on the back of school buses through the streets of Marion County into different areas that are socioeconomically different than they, that are racially different than they, that are in many different areas, offering them the opportunity to view diversity. That is the core value of what athletics and the high school experience should be offering. But in addition to that, the fact that it is another sign of the seal off and, to an extent, the dissolve of Richard Lugar's Unigov Indianapolis, because the population has now spread outward into the donut counties, understandably so, but there was still some intermix of those, and this would be yet another wedge that prohibits that intermix. And I think that could be very detrimental to a downtown Indianapolis that, quite frankly, is trying to find its way out of some dark period.
Yeah, and that is certainly a huge factor in all of this, Jake. I'm going to go to the 15 to 18-year-olds. And in that sense, what you are doing with this, assuming, and we are assuming here, Carmel and Center Grove join the HCC, which is not a foregone conclusion based off what I've been told, you are expanding those communities and those kids in their bubble. And you're not opening them up to other experiences in the most formative years of their lives. You went to North Central. I would say by all accounts, North Central, probably one of the more diverse high schools around. I think you have, it is a bit of a melting pot there. I'm not going to pretend that Cathedral is on that same level where I went, but a reason why my parents, I grew up in Carmel, were attracted to what Cathedral offered is it did provide some more diversity than sending me to Carmel.
Right.
Now, the student-to-teacher ratio, and there are a lot of other factors. We are a Catholic family. There were several other factors. I'm not going to say that I was recruited for golf, Jake, because that can kind of get into a dicey topic there.
That's right.
But that was something that, as a 15-year-old me, 14-year-old me, whatever I was, leaving Clay Junior High, that didn't register. I was pissed. What? I don't want to go to Cathedral. I want to go to Carmel. That's where all my friends. 32-year-old me, looking back on that experience, and again, not at the same level as other high schools offer, but still more than I would have gotten. I'm grateful for it.
Now, Kevin,
and I'm again, I know maybe not everybody feels the way that I do, but I am afraid with this, you are neglecting some of that of just is an extra 100 fans at a JV game because it's easier for Carmel soccer team to go play Westfield soccer team. Is that really what matters here, or is it the opportunity to potentially have these communities, like you said, interact with one another that might not necessarily do it? I think that is the big missing part in this.
To be fair, there was an incident with Carmel, now having nothing to do with the teams on the field, but during the Carmel game, football-wise, at Ben Davis this fall, there was a shooting outside the stadium.
Yeah, I believe mid-October.
And I absolutely understand if you're Carmel where things like that have to be taken into consideration. I understand that. When I was a kid, and I hate to sit here and sound like old guy yelling at clouds, but you are correct, I went to North Central. I was walking out of here, Kevin, I don't know, 6 weeks ago. I think it was when you were gone and I was filling in for you. I was walking out and I ran into a guy who was installing cable wire for one of the cable companies here in the building. And he was a teammate of mine at North Central. And I haven't seen him probably since shortly after we graduated. And we sat there and caught up, and it was wonderful. And that 4-year window is probably one of the few windows where our lives were parallel. But they were parallel for that 4 years. And at the age of 49, it meant something to us. And we sat there and got caught up. And we had an understanding of each other because of the fact that we had those formidable years together. And the number of times that I still to this day drive around Indianapolis and I see South Wayne Middle School or Belzer or Guyan or, Ben Davis Junior High, any of those schools, and I think, oh, that's where that is, Creston. That's where that is. Oh, yeah, I remember going there as a kid. And then you meet people from those schools, and the interaction you have with them is because you were in the same conference. You competed against them. You had an appreciation and understanding for the work they were putting in for the same goal as you. And there was a huge lesson to be learned in the fact that at a young age and an impressionable age, Kevin, we were going, I might have been from 73rd and Allisonville, and I might not have had anything in common with the kid from, 10th and High School Road, except for the fact that we were competing for the same thing and had the same goals and the same avenues to get there. And that creates an understanding of people that were different than me. I remember my freshman year of college, I was at the University of Kansas. And I was on the phone with my buddy Dave Steinberg, actually, who went to IU, but we went to North Central together. And I referenced, I don't remember which Jewish holiday it was. I think it must have been probably like Yom Kippur. I don't remember which one it was. But I referenced it in the phone call. And one of the guys next to me said, was that person Jewish? And I said, yeah. And they go, hold on, you know Jewish people?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? I went to a high school that's like 30% Jewish, right? I don't think that I had a Gentile girlfriend until I was, I didn't have many girlfriends anyway, but that blew me away. And then I realized that I was afforded the opportunity of diversity without even knowing that I was being afforded it. Again, I want to make very clear, I am not in any way, shape, or form implying I know Jim Inskeep at Carmel, the athletic director. Really good guy. I know Eric Moore, the football coach at Center Grove. Really good guy. In no way, shape, or form am I implying, as I think the Mick did, and maybe prematurely, that this is a move completely based upon trying to insulate each other around people who are more like they than those that are in their conference. I think that that's irresponsible to jump to that conclusion. All I am saying, Kevin, is this is a move that potentially has implication that, to me, can be detrimental to the vision long-term of what I would hope for the opportunities of young people, and furthermore, the dissolve of what I thought was a fabulous vision that for 50 years has paid dividends for the people of Indianapolis through Unigov.
Couple things, and again, I definitely hear you out on that. I've brought up the experience aspect of the high school students that I think being neglected, really, with this. From a Carmel Center Grove point of view, couple things. And again, I had heard whispers of this back kind of August, September. So I don't, maybe the Ben Davis incident was whatever, the final straw. But again, I don't want this to seem like once that happened, you had Carmel and Center Grove parents saying, we cannot play at these schools.
Right. We
got to get the hell out of here, blah, blah, blah. No. That's not the case. I do think, and someone brought this up earlier, I think we had a caller maybe in the first hour about this, the fact that Avon, Brownsburg, Zionsville, Westfield, hell, the two Fisher schools, they are totally different than what they were 5 to 10 years ago, size-wise, is something to acknowledge. Like when Carmel and Center Grove were in the MIC 5 to 10 years ago, the schools they might be joining now in the HCC are nowhere near the magnitude of size, athletically, whatever you want to call them, that they were back then. So I do think that is something to acknowledge. And I understand people that bring up the Olympic sports angle of Carmel and Center Grove. And again, we don't really put a lot of time into what's happening in the volleyball world or the tennis world or other sports with those conferences. The fact that Carmel and Center Grove seem to, be overwhelming favorites or not have the same level of competition within the MIC in the Olympic sports that they might have in football and basketball is something that I'm hearing a lot from with Carmel and Center Grove people right now.
Now, I did get this. Jake, I love your show, but the bottom line is the murder rate is skyrocketing. Our mayor is checked out, and there was a shooting at Ben Davis. Come on. I get all that. What I'm saying is this, and this gets into, I could spend 3 hours on this. I spent a lot of time in inner city schools. A lot. I didn't go to an inner city school. I went to a suburban school that had some kids that probably lived in like inner city socioeconomic type areas, but I spent a lot of time in inner city schools. And this is a whole different talk show that is very difficult to skim over in 35 seconds. But I'm not saying, look, there are a number of things that are leading to the crime rate in Indianapolis. There are a number of factors, a ton of factors. There is no one easy solution. There is no one thing to pinpoint on. But I've been around the city a lot, and I've been in the inner city schools a lot, especially with young, impressionable, aged people. And one of the key elements that I noticed that saddens me and upsets me, admittedly, and if you want to cast me as this or that, fine. One of the key things, a very small, Kevin, but a factor in people turning to crime at a young adult age is the subliminal plant in their mind that they already come from an area, a city, or a community that has been cast off anyway. And so they feel like, you know what, if I'm from an area where my own city or my own community is not wanting to invest or give their time or resource into where I'm coming from, and they've turned their back on me, then if others don't see value in where I'm from, why should I? And I'm not saying that that's right, but that reality exists. And my fear is that little things like this are just one little droplet in what goes into and feeds into and justifies that mindset, no matter how wrong it might be for the person in that community. And that only perpetuates further the things that lead to the degrade of the morality of our society and that violence of which is spoken. That's all I'm saying. Do you want to get now to a Big O Tire Sports Center update with that smooth transition?
Well, just one thing to add. Have you seen a Carmel or Center Grove statement on this? I have not.
I was told there was one, but I've not seen it.
Okay, so that could be something. Sounds like HCC principals will vote on potentially adding Carmel Center Grove. They haven't officially asked to be in that conference, but it sounds like that is just pretty imminent, to be honest. And then the principals will vote on that in January, and we'll see exactly where they end up and what happens to the MIC. I mean, do you add a Southport, a Decatur Central? I don't know. I'm trying to think of some other high schools that could be in the mix there.
Decatur Central would be a good one, probably.
For the MIC, I don't know how a Cathedral would they want to apply? They have not joined the conferences. I think you've seen Chittard, Roncalli, Guerin, Brebeuf, all of them in a conference. So we'll see how this plays out. But yes, let's hit a Big O Tires Sports Center update.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Tuesday's typically off day in the NFL world, especially for the Colts, but they are actually going to practice today. The Saturday game means an abbreviated, or I guess kind of a pushed up schedule for this week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 3 practice days for the Colts. Sounds like Ryan Kelly should be back to practice today. That's what Frank Reich mentioned yesterday as his stay on the COVID list comes to an end. Zaire Franklin did test positive for COVID, and he will be out for the time being. He said he was vaccinated at the start of camp, so his return could happen at some point this week. Jake, I'll reiterate what I said earlier. I do not believe this Franklin news means we'll see a lot of close contacts develop kind of off of this. We're seeing numbers rise in the NFL. 37 positive tests yesterday. That is more than double any day since the pandemic started for an in-season day for the NFL. So just massive numbers. But that is something I think to keep an eye on as the Colts do get back from their bye week. Do we see anyone else test positive?
I hate to say this because I'm not trying to downplay the severity of the pandemic. I'm well aware of it, and I'm as cautious probably as most, I would think. But do you think, Kevin, because I do, I think that people are becoming more and more ambivalent about it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah.
Because people are hearing about players. It's like, this guy tested positive. He's out for 2 days and then he's back. Who cares? I don't need to hear about it now.
I know the Rams won last night, but you should have seen the Rams fans when they found out Jalen Ramsey was on the COVID list at noon yesterday.
Right.
Like, I think until it hits a marquee player for your football team, if the Colts would have been playing New England, and that's the game Ryan Kelly would have missed, I think it would have been different. So I think it's very of where are you at right now. I mean, Mark brought it up yesterday in the show. If you're a Chicago Bulls fan right now, you've got 10 players in the COVID protocol. So I think a lot of it just kind of depends on the environment that you are in. The Colts are 3-0 after a bye week under Frank Reich. They've had a double-digit lead in 10 straight games. The Patriots have won 7 in a row. They are undefeated away from home. So something has got to give on Saturday night. Patriots going for that number 1 overall seed. If they slip up late in the year, they could still miss the playoffs, as crazy as that sounds. Not likely, but the AFC still very much jumbled right now. Last night we did see the Rams hold on to beat the Cardinals. A little quarterback injury update from the weekend. Lamar Jackson, not a high ankle sprain for him. They've got a big one. They host the Packers on Sunday. Josh Allen, a foot sprain. So it looks like those two guys both got banged up over the weekend. Not anything too severe with either of them.
By the way, Kevin, here is, I just finally got it, the statement from Carmel and Center Grove. Quote, "We respect the coaches, faculty, administrators, and student athletes of the MIC Conference. We've had long-standing and positive relationships with the MIC Conference and appreciate the 26 years of collaboration and competition with the MIC schools. The decision to request to change conferences is rooted in the belief that this move would provide our schools with the collaboration, competition, and support necessary to grow our programs over the next 20 years." End quote. There you go.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of validity there, but it definitely doesn't address the culturally aligned aspect of the MIC statement, right?
And again, that's the MIC saying that. I mean, the MIC is saying that Carmel and Center Grove have said that they are looking for somewhere to, quote, culturally aligned.
Yeah.
Culturally is the key word there.
Right. And it's a word you can use.
And just because the MIC issued that in a statement does not, to be fair, just because the MIC issued that in a statement about Center Grove and Carmel does not imperatively mean that that was a term that Carmel or Center Grove used.
Right. Correct. But it definitely inferred that. Warriors beat the Pacers last night 102-100. Lloyd Pierce still the interim coach with Rick Carlisle out. Here was him on the Pacers losing a 5-point lead in the final 90 seconds.
I just thought it was, our aggression versus their execution. We were trying to obviously pay a lot of attention to their shooters, Steph specifically, and they're able to get some movement. And we had opportunities where we were in the bonus with a few minutes to go, and we weren't able to capitalize on that.
Steph Curry hit a 3 down 5 to cut it to 2, and then took kind of Miles Turner, or got switched. Miles Turner got switched on him. He was able to hit a layup to tie the game. He then missed a 3 with about, 20, 15 seconds to go, something like that. Kevin Looney got the rebound after Miles Turner could not secure it. Laid it in, and that was the game winner as Caris LeVert turned it over at the other end of the floor. Malcolm Brogdon and Domantas Sabonis were outstanding last night. Brogdon, especially for taking the bulk of the Steph Curry defensive assignment. Sabonis continued to look like the Eastern Conference Player of the Week that he just was. 30 and 11 for him. Brogdon had 23, 8, and 6, but he gave it up on the final possession when Draymond Green switched on him. LeVert turned it over. That is now 9 of 17 losses by 4 points or less. Jake, Kevin Pritchard made the comment, and I know he felt the need to apologize for it, that the Pacers need to manufacture a star. He's 100% right. Just because that comment might offend some guys in that locker room, he is exactly right, and we continue to see it in these end-game situations.
Steph Curry last night, 5 of 15 from three-point range. Some of those misses were late in the game when he was probably trying to secure the game and also trying to tie the record. He forced some shots, but Golden State was okay with that because that's what happens with your star player, and you're going to make some, you're going to miss some, and you still have that green light because everybody knows that you are the get-out-of-the-way guy. Pacers just don't have that. And then as a result, instead of a green light, you got guys playing with a yellow light. You can't win that way.
This wraps up kind of a big homestand, or at least a large chunk of games over at Gainbridge Fieldhouse for the Pacers. I thought they needed to go 9-3 or 8-4 in this stretch to really turn things around. They went 6-6. They'll now have a back-to-back at Milwaukee tomorrow night. The Bucks have lost 3 of 7. They also haven't lost at home in more than a month. Chris Middleton got hurt last night, hyperextended knee, so it doesn't sound like he will give it a go tomorrow. And then it's the Pistons, the god-awful Pistons, on Thursday for the Pacers. After that, it's a 5-day break for Indiana, so you would expect a lot of practice time and a lot of opportunity for Kevin Pritchard to gauge some interest from teams around the league. So kind of an unusual week here for the Pacers. College basketball, Crossroads Classic. We're going to have Tom Noy, who covers Notre Dame, on here in about 15 minutes. We'll have on somebody from Notre Dame, Butler, Purdue, and Indiana the rest of the week here to preview the final Crossroads Classic, which is much to my disappointment there. It'll be Purdue and Butler at noon. Purdue fell to number 3 in the AP poll yesterday. Travion Williams, co-Big Ten Player of the Week.
Oh, undoubtedly, right? Who's the other?
E.J. Liddell from Ohio State.
Okay.
And then IU Notre Dame will be the 2:30 tip on Saturday from Crossroads Classic. Jake, these records kind of always surprise me in the Crossroads Classic. Indiana all-time.
How many years of it?
10 years. They have a 7-3 mark.
Okay.
Butler 6-4 with a 4-1 record against Purdue in the Crossroads Classic. Notre Dame comes in next with their mark. I believe it's Indiana.
You said Indiana 7-3.
7-3. Sorry. Notre Dame is 4-6, and Purdue is 3-7. Again,
Really?
1-4 against Butler, 2-3 against Notre Dame. The Purdue 3-7 mark, very surprising to me, especially that 1-4 against Butler.
Yeah, that does surprise me. You're right. Although, you know what? Purdue got Butler in the early years, right?
Well, it's every other year.
I guess you're right. It just felt like in the early years it was always Purdue. But you know what I mean? Like,
there's been some upsets. Butler's had some big upsets there. And obviously,
it feels to me like Butler's beaten Indiana at Gainbridge Fieldhouse like 17 times.
2-3 in the Crossroads. Now, they did beat them outside of the Crossroads, right there?
The Jordan Cornette putback dunk. That was
Alex
Crossroads,
Barlow,
right?
I think, had the game winner.
Oh, yeah.
A handful of years ago. So, again, it will be Butler and Purdue getting things started at noon.
That was when
IU Notre Dame.
Tom Crean decided to take Cody Zeller out of off the floor.
Yeah.
Hey, let's just go ahead and leave the lane wide open even though we're up 1.
Yeah, and Alex Barlow, the former walk-on with the floater.
Brilliant X's and O's.
I assume Purdue and IU will be big favorites in both of those games.
Scotty Johnson has been inside the studio since 7:45. He has got his arms folded. He doesn't realize that he has a pop quiz question, which is a duplicate from when you and I had to do the pop quiz in Scotty's absence.
Wow.
So
Great
if you are
minds think
somebody,
alike,
that's
right?
right. If you're somebody who has listened and are a regular to the pop quiz, you're going to know one of the answers because we've already used it before. Scotty is recycling.
And we're giving...
Somebody's slacking.
Yeah, Scotty, come on now. And Mark, remind listeners what we're giving away this week.
All right, so you don't have to go 5 for 5 to win this, but we're giving away a 4-pack of Fair Oaks Farms Forest of Lights. You can go now through January 2nd. Bring the family. That's a mile-long trail outside with lights, music, interactive exhibits, all kinds of stuff. Plus, you get some hot chocolate and s'more
And you
kits
went
to
and
go
said
with
it was fabulous,
It was
right?
awesome.
Yeah.
My daughters loved it.
God, that sounds incredible.
And right there at the BP that's right there next to the Fair Oaks, they have, at that BP, they have fabulous gummy bears. I forget what brand was
Is it Albanese?
It's not, it's Albanese. Albanese are superior to the Haribo, I think, right?
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Well, Colin from
But they have
Denver earlier, his gummy bears, their gummy bears out there probably have a little something else in it.
Yeah, well, we know what he was doing at 10 till 7.
Laying the old pipe, he was letting us know.
That's what he said he was doing. And then he actually is a pipe fitter. I'm okay. No, I got to think of they were gummy bears, but they were Albanese, but they were like they were Jelly Belly flavoring gummy bears.
Interesting.
So the Albanese folk and the Jelly Belly folk got together, and they've combined forces. And the only place I've ever seen it is at the BP at Fair Oaks.
Well, get the cookies and cream milkshake there, and you'll thank me later.
That's okay. All right. So 239-1070 is the telephone number. Pop quiz is next.
Crew Car Wash books make the perfect gift for anyone on your list. The Ultimate Book is on sale now for buy 4 washes, get 2 free. Purchase at any Crew Car Wash location today.
Join us on The Fan and listen to Jason Hammer on You Bet with Bet Rivers, 7 to 8 p.m. on Thursdays, where you can get all the betting advice you would ever need.
Audible is best-selling audiobooks, exclusive originals, and podcasts all in one app. This holiday season, treat yourself with 60% off your first 3 months. Just visit audible.com for more details.
The end of the NFL regular season is approaching, and this week's Thursday night game gives us a huge divisional matchup between the Chiefs and Chargers, and FanDuel Sportsbook is about to make it even bigger. Because FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can win $150 on a $5 bet. So the Chiefs and Chargers have been Jekyll and Hyde all season. It seems like almost on a week-to-week basis. But I think the Chiefs are returning to form, so I like them in this matchup. But you could feel differently. That's why FanDuel is sports betting made simple, and they're always hooking you up with great offers like this one. Plus, the app is safe, secure, and easy to use, and when you win, you get your winnings in as little as 2 hours. So new users sign up with promo code MARK before this Thursday night matchup, and you can win $150 on a $5 bet. Again, promo code MARK, M-A-R-C. 21 and over and present in Indiana. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
This is how we reinvent banking.
Every week or two, your paycheck comes through. Steady like a stopwatch, easy to view. But if your bank knows that your checks will drop like clockwork, can't they speed it up, huh? Enter Huntington, punchline please, where your paycheck's delivered up to 2 days early. Get your paychecks up to 2 days early. That's how we reinvent banking. Huntington, welcome.
Direct deposit and eligibility requirements apply. Learn more at huntington.com/earlypay.
Spectrum Mobile is reinventing wireless again. Get unlimited on 2+ lines for $29.99 a month per line. No contracts, no added taxes or fees. Includes nationwide 5G. Save up to 60% with Spectrum Mobile. Get unlimited on 2+ lines for $29.99 a month. Call 855-438-2999 or visit a store near you. Offer valid for new customers on 2+ unlimited lines. Spectrum Internet required. Savings based on 2-line comparison of unlimited plans among major national carriers as of 9/20/21. Prepaid excluded. Restrictions apply.
The holidays are doubly important this year, so make your celebrations doubly special. At Kroger, we've got a huge selection of high-quality meats on top of fresh, natural produce, like fresh, never-frozen prime-grade beef and our Simple Truth organic Brussels sprouts, or delicious king crab legs with our private selection gourmet potatoes. Whew, had to say that doubly fast. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save big on bone-in Kroger spiral sliced ham. It's just 87 cents a pound with your card. Limit one with additional $25 purchase. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Pop Quiz with Kevin and Query. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
Colts have activated Ryan Kelly off the COVID list so he can return to practice today and should be good to go for Saturday night against the Patriots. That's big, Jake. Big, big, big. You know Belichick's going to dial some stuff up, and you want to have your experienced center back in the lineup.
No question. And they're going to have, again, they're going to present different looks, and so you want a guy that's, not that Pinter is not that guy, but you want the most experienced snapping the ball that you can get.
And then one other injury note I forgot to mention before we get to the pop quiz. Paris Campbell, no update on him. I know there have been some whispers maybe late December. Asked Frank yesterday, could he return to practice this week or next? And Frank said, no update.
Have you been to Paris?
No.
Wonderful.
London, but not Paris.
Paris, Illinois, you been there?
Yes, I have.
London, Ohio, you been there?
No. Where's London, Ohio?
There's a Cairo, Illinois, is there not? Where's where?
London, Ohio.
It's in Ohio.
No shit.
Near
Hey,
Columbus.
easy there.
Oh, wait, we already have the dump bump button needed earlier for live read.
I'm not sure where in Ohio, but I'm pretty sure there's a Lion's Den.
Oh, jeez. Mark,
I'm just saying, there's
pick a number.
Billboard for every town in Ohio.
We've got loaded phone lines, so you guys give it a pick.
Jake's favorite number is 3. Let's go with let's see what do we got here. Steph Curry had how many threes last night? 5. Let's go with 5.
Austin.
Have you been to Austin?
Yeah. No, I've not.
Austin, have you been to Austin?
Yeah, this is Austin.
Yeah, have you been to Austin?
I have not been to Austin. No.
You know, you can go to Austin, Indiana, or Austin, Texas. Either one, actually. Austin,
I've
you
been
sound
to
like
neither of them.
Okay. Well, you sound like a nice fella. If you don't mind me asking, how old a fella are you?
25 years old.
25-year-old Austin. And Austin, the high school that you attended is what?
Greenfield Central. Home of the Cougars, baby.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, yeah, in more ways than one, from what I understand.
Is that the one you see off 70?
That's Eastern Hancock.
Off 70 is Eastern Hancock, yeah.
Are you, speaking of 70, are you in traffic right now? I hear horns. Everything going okay?
I actually work at Carvana, and there are a bunch of cars around me.
Are you in one of those vending machines right now?
No, actually, the vending machine got torn down.
Are you a Jimmy Johnson fan?
What was that?
Are you a Jimmy Johnson fan?
These are not pop quiz questions, by the way.
You're asking so many questions.
Jimmy Johnson is sponsored by Carvana in the IndyCar Series. And Austin, I'm going to break it right here. You are going to have the opportunity to root for Jimmy Johnson definitively in the Indy 500 in May. Write it down, mark it down. All right, ready for the pop quiz. Would you like for me, that would be Jake, or Kevin, to read you question number 1?
I'm going to go Jake since Kevin did it yesterday.
Well, thank you. Wow, that's okay. Question number 1. If you are familiar with the pop quiz, yes, Austin, you should know this. Steph Curry last night finished 1 3-pointer shy of Ray Allen's NBA career record. Reggie Miller is who Ray Allen surpassed to become the all-time 3-point shooter in NBA history. Reggie Miller got that record by passing who? A, Glenn Rice, B, Slick Nick at Night, Nick Van Exel, C, Dale Ellis, or D, Steph's father, Del Curry?
Let's keep it in the family. Go Del Curry.
You sure about that? Okay. Del Curry.
I'm not, but I'm going to go ahead and go with it.
All right.
All right, Reggie Miller ranks 3rd in the NBA's all-time made 3-point field goals list. Another former Pacer, Billy Keller, ranks 2nd on the ABA's all-time made 3-point field goals list with 506. Who hit the most career threes in ABA history? A, Darryl Carrier, B, Louis Dampier, C, Glenn Combs, D, George Lehman.
Oh, man. All of those sound like good answers. I'm just going to go ahead and go with C.
I was going to say, the old 20, for a 32-year-old me or a 25-year-old Austin, that's
What if I told you it's a guy that went to Southport High School?
That would not help me at all.
Okay. After all, you're from Greenfield. Okay, on this day in 1988, the Miami Heat recorded their first win in franchise history, beating the Clippers 89-88, which was debated but still considered an NBA win. With that first win coming on December 14th, the Heat started their history with a significant losing streak. How many games in a row did Miami lose in its inaugural season? A, 15, B, 17, C, 19, or D, 21. I will tell you that it is just 8 fewer than the years you are old.
So 17.
Okay, 17 is what he's going to go with.
That was
Kevin,
good,
go
Austin. On top of your head there. Happy 74th birthday to the National Association of Stock Car Auto Racing. NASCAR was founded on December 14th, 1947 in Daytona Beach, Florida. Who was the reigning NASCAR Cup Series champion? Boy, Scotty, you were really searching for questions here. A, Kyle Larson. B, Chase Elliott. C, Denny Hamlin. D, Martin Truex Jr.
Follow the horn.
Yeah. A, Kyle Larson.
All right. Lastly, happy 100th birthday to Charlie Trippi, the oldest living member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He spent 9 seasons in the NFL as a running back, quarterback, defensive back, punter, and return specialist. He spent his entire career with one team, leading it to its last NFL championship in 1947, and was inevitably disappointed last night to watch this team lose to the Rams. Name the team.
The Cardinals.
Okay, the Cardinals is what he has.
Nice finish there. Yeah.
Steph Curry, by the way, last night fell just one shy. He will inevitably, obviously, break the record at some point of the 3-point made record. Ray Allen holds it. Reggie Miller is who Ray Allen got past, and Reggie Miller had to get past Dale Ellis. Is the correct answer. You blew it! Now 25th all-time is Dale Ellis.
You don't get to come back tomorrow. You don't even get a lousy copy of our home game. You're a complete loser.
Get your bag and get the hell out of here.
Now, Louis Dampier went to Southport High School and made 794 three-pointers, the most in ABA history. The Miami Heat, in fact, it is 17 losses in a row they had in their first year. Kyle Larson, of course, is the reigning Cup champion, and the Cardinals is who Charlie Trippi played for. So, rounding it out. Did you like that little nugget about Jimmy Johnson, Kevin?
Yeah. Is that... that's not official, right? That is you letting us know that will happen, correct?
That is not official.
That's awesome. You know me. Let's fill that field with a bunch of different backgrounds, fan bases, whatnot, and see
it's
who
not official, but at this point, I would
up.
expect it to be official in the next couple of months.
Any other ovals for him, or you think that'll be it?
That's a good question. I'd have to look at the schedule. Is there one before Indy?
Well, Texas, right?
Yeah, I don't think he'd do that. I think it's going to be...
Texas is pretty dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be just Indy, at least. But it does appear as though he is going to run the Indy 500.
I love that. Can't wait, and I appreciate you sharing that. All right, all week long, we're going to have people that cover the various 4 Crossroads Classic teams. We'll start it up with Tom Noy from the South Bend Tribune, who covers Notre Dame. He'll join us next here on Kevin and Query.
BetRivers Sportsbook wants you to be in control of your football bets. That's why players love the same-game parlays at BetRivers. Same-game parlays let you mix and match player props and game bets and gives a payout boost to the winning combinations you want to root for. Combine 2 bets or combine many. You pick your confidence level and then watch the game unfold. Bet on same-game parlays at BetRivers.com or download the BetRivers app. Must be 21 and located in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
It's JMV. Do you have a savings goal for the new year? Forum Credit Union is here to help you meet that savings goal with a fun way to save $1,378 over 12 months. It's the Forum 52-week challenge account, and it's easy. Save $1 the first week, $2 the second week, and keep increasing your savings amount each week. Or you can save the equal amount every week, whatever works with your budget. Stop by any Forum location today to open up your challenge savings account or learn more at forumcu.com.
Gather near and bring the cheer this holiday season. Dazzle and delight the love of your life with a gift from Hellsberg Diamonds. Don't miss great prices on stunning diamond studs, tennis bracelets, gemstone rings, and the year's must-have look, gold jewelry for stacking and layering. Another reason to go to Hellsberg? Get a free Microsoft Surface Laptop Go with a purchase of $1,699 or more. Visit Hellsberg.com or a store near you today. Limited time offer while supplies last. See online or in-store for details.
This holiday at Metro by T-Mobile, the big 5G upgrade just got better because now Metro has the largest selection of free 5G phones in prepaid, like the Samsung Galaxy 5G. And Metro gives you 1 line of unlimited 5G data for just $25 a month with 5G included at no extra cost. So you'll be able to stream, snap, upload, and share the holiday cheer all season. Ring in the holidays with the big 5G upgrade from Metro. Get unlimited 5G and a brand new 5G phone when you switch and trade in. More choices on free 5G phones, more savings, and more 5G coverage at no extra cost. All with the power of the T-Mobile 5G network. That's how you get more for the holidays. Only at Metro. After 24 months, $25 price may increase. Limited time in store only. No tethering. Unlimited on network only. Required port from eligible carrier if congested. Data users greater than 35 gigabytes per month. Notice lower speeds, and Metro customers notice lower speeds versus T-Mobile due to deprioritization. Video at 480p. See store for details.
And that's when I realized it's called a hamburger, not a handburger, because you carry it with your hand. I was wrong, people. It's like that time I thought I couldn't make the perfect app for football. I was wrong again, people. All I had to do was make a sportsbook app where you can earn season rewards all Sunday long. Nobody's better at bettering things than Caesars.
Must be 21. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Jake, I'm not happy about it. It's one of my favorite events, really, of the year. I've looked forward to it each of the past Decembers for now, I guess it'll be 11 years come Saturday. That is the Crossroads Classic. Notre Dame and Indiana at 2:30, Purdue and Butler at noon, and we're going to have a guest, someone that covers each of those schools over the rest of the week here on Kevin and Query. We're going to begin with Tom Noy from the South Bend Tribune. Tom, I've got to, full transparency, I think my brother and I are one of 7 diehard Notre Dame basketball fans. So from me to you, thank you for your tremendous coverage over the years, and I thoroughly enjoy following you on Twitter.
Are you sure there's only 7? There might be 9 after the Kentucky game on Saturday.
I was going to say, maybe after Boston College there was 3, and that's grown to 9 after Kentucky. Let's start there. For those that haven't been following the program, after Boston College, it couldn't get much lower. After Kentucky, I think the ship is at least afloat.
Absolutely, one of the strangest programs, one of the strangest teams that I've covered in my 24 years covering Notre Dame men's basketball, because all we heard all offseason was, this year is going to be different, especially when we get into the ACC, because the last time Notre Dame men's basketball played an ACC game, they trailed by 50. to North Carolina in an ACC tournament game, and they said that's never going to happen again. So they go out, they play the last place team, the team that's picked last, to finish last in the league, and they were down 23, and they never trailed, and they just got absolutely taken apart by Boston College. So then you're thinking, you have no idea what this team's going to be all about. Oh, by the way, then they just turn around and beat the number 10 team in the country. So I can't figure these guys out. I hope you can, Kevin, because I can't.
You know, sometimes, Tom, when I look at schools and basketball programs, and I'm looking at it, I'm going, okay, let's look at who they played and who beat them, right? I mean, St. Mary's, to me, I think St. Mary's is pretty good. And, they can shoot the ball. They do a lot of things well. A&M, Illinois, Boston College, three games there they lose. How much of that was Notre Dame flat out getting beat by a better team? And how much of that, if I'm to give credit here, could that have been Mike Bray trying to kind of find out who his team is and set themselves up for once things really get going, let's say, after the holidays?
A little bit of both. This is a veteran team. It's got a lot of seniors. I think of the 7 guys who play, 6 of them are either seniors or graduate students. So the experience is there. But just because you have experience, you don't have that rhythm and that continuity. And I think he's still trying to figure out who are we? Like, who are we going to be? Are we going to be the senior-laden team? And so let's go that route, and let's see if that can carry them through the Maui Invitational when they went out to Vegas. And they really shouldn't have lost to A&M. Like, A&M was, I think, picked to finish second to last in the ACC. Buzz Williams pulled out the old Big East playbook when he was at Marquette and just got into these guys' stuff in the second half, and Notre Dame just didn't have an answer. Like, they weren't prepared to play that style, so that's why they lose to A&M. But they played really well at Illinois. As much as I remember being in Champaign, because that was the night that Brian Kelly took off for LSU. So I kind of remember a little bit about that game, but wasn't really paying attention. But they played really well in a tough atmosphere. Like, for the first time in 700 days, they played in front of more than 12,000 people. So that was something to build on, you thought. And then just a disaster against Boston College. So now I think they're finally to the point where, okay, I think this is who we are, and who they are is, let's put the ball in the hands of a freshman in Blake Wesley and let him just go make plays for us.
Tom Noy from the South Bend Tribune covers Notre Dame basketball. Join us here on the Payless Liquors hotline. Again, it'll be Notre Dame and Indiana at 2:30. We'll talk more about that here in just a second. You brought up Blake Wesley, Tom. For those that saw the end of the Kentucky game, they got an introduction to him. Extremely talented. Break down maybe his recruitment a little bit. South Bend area. So that, obviously lends itself to Notre Dame having an advantage there. But I think when Indiana and Purdue fans get a look at him and realize he's from the state of Indiana, they might be like, wait, should we have been involved with that kid?
It was a goofy recruitment because of the pandemic, because of the coronavirus protocols and everything. Mike Bray never saw him play his senior year. And I think Riley's gym is about 2.5 miles from campus. And the other freshman that they have, J.R. Knesny, he went to South Bend St. Joe, and his school is about a mile from campus. Mike Bray never saw either of those two guys play their senior years, but when Jaden Ivey went to Purdue, and he was a Purdue lean forever, Mishawaka Marion kid, grew up in the South Bend area. Obviously, his mom is the head coach at the Notre Dame women's program. But when Jaden Ivey went to Purdue, it was almost like, all right, Ivey's going to Purdue, but Blake Wesley's got to be the gotta-get guy from this class, averaging 25 a game, doing a little of everything his junior and senior year at Riley. And you could just see that the moment the first practice that we saw way back in July, Blake Wesley was on the court, and it was just a different type of Notre Dame team than we've seen in the past. He's the most athletic. He's the most talented. He's the most gifted. He's a guy that's just going to take the ball and just go make a play. And they really haven't had that the last couple of years. So it's almost like the more you watch Blake Wesley play, the more you thought it's only a matter of time before he slides into the starting lineup. He's not going to be coming off the bench. He's not going to be a role player guy. And the deeper that we've gone through this season, the more people have realized for Notre Dame really to do anything against these unbelievably athletic and talented and versatile teams that they're facing Saturday against Indiana, and then once they jump back into ACC play, Blake Wesley's got to be a major part of what this program does.
Yeah, I'm not used to seeing a talent like that in a Notre Dame uniform, especially on the wing. All right, Tom, obviously the elephant in the room with Saturday is the fact that this will be it for the Crossroads Classic. It seems like Purdue and Butler a little bit more inclined to want this to continue. Indiana, Notre Dame, they're pretty okay with this ending. Again, selfishly, I hate that. I get some of the reasoning, but for those that are not very plugged into Notre Dame's reasoning, can you share why they want to back out of this?
I'm gonna make a lot of your basketball fans down that way angry, a lot of your IU fans, but for Notre Dame, this Crossroads Classic cannot end soon enough. Like yesterday, last year, the year before, because
of the bad losses they've had, blowing leads late in games.
Yeah, a little bit of that, but again, like we'll see Saturday, this is a de facto home game for one team and one team only, and it's always been that way. Like, this was a good idea, and it was a great concept back when Notre Dame was in the Big East, and you didn't get the Big Ten team on the schedule. But when Notre Dame moved to the ACC, obviously every December they play a Big Ten ACC challenge. So there's one Big Ten team on your schedule. When you're playing in an MTE, multiple team event every November, there's a good chance you're going to see another Big Ten team on the schedule. That's two. And then the Crossroads gives Notre Dame either Purdue or Indiana every year. That's three. And Mike Bray says, hey, look, we're in the Atlantic Coast Conference. We don't want to play three Big Ten teams, no matter how great of an event it might be on that Saturday in Indianapolis every December. We're too Big Ten heavy. Like, we don't want to do that. If we were in the Big East and we didn't play Big Ten teams every year in the Big Ten ACC Challenge, it would be great. But I think it got to the point where the blown leads, the bad losses aside, it's really, really difficult for a Notre Dame men's basketball program to drive 150 miles down US 31 and play basically a home game against IU. Like, that's really hard. And now that the fact that they're in the ACC, I think Mike Bray, it ran its course, and Mike Bray is kind of intrigued by the fact that, you know what, we've played Purdue and Indiana in Indy. Let's do something different. Let's play them in the Big Ten ACC Challenge and get sellout crowds at Assembly Hall or Mackey Arena or Purcell Pavilion, and just go at it with a little different twist. So I think it's something where it was great while it lasted, but it ran its course, and Notre Dame is looking forward to, instead of having IU or Purdue in that slot, let's do something with UCLA and get that series going again. Let's do something with DePaul or Villanova. When IU and Purdue rotate off at this point next year, they're going to go and start a series with Marquette. So it offers up a little, maybe some different options that Mike Bray didn't have in the past.
Final minute here, Tom. Tom Noyes, our guest on the Payless Liquors guest line. Mike Bray, to me, I think he's been, for the most part of his career, an underrated coach, even though he does get rated. But I'm curious from your standpoint in assessing it in totality. Is Mike Bray a coach who goes out and recruits players for Mike Bray's system, or is Mike Bray a coach that comes up with systems based on the players that he's been able that year to recruit?
It's a total system situation. Like, he's going to go out and recruit guys that are going to be 3, 4, sometimes 5-year guys. Let them grow their games. Like, a great example is J.R. Knesny, kid from South Bend St. Joe, All-State last year, averaging 27, 28 a game. He rarely plays because he's just not ready for the college level, and all these fans around town are saying, why aren't you playing J.R. Knesny? Let him grow his game as a freshman, maybe play a little bit more as a sophomore. And then junior, senior years, that's when you look at the stats this year where it's senior heavy, guys playing 33, 25, 31, 29 minutes a game. That's been Mike Bray's system, and for the most part over his 22 years, that system has worked. With this senior class, for whatever reason, it hasn't clicked, which is why Notre Dame has been middle of the road here the last couple of years.
Tom, to say that the last 2-3 weeks for you has been crazy is probably an understatement. In all seriousness, as a huge fan, I appreciate your work. Columns are terrific, and you do a great job covering both. A little bit of basketball, certainly, and then some football as well, and I think some column work. So thank you for hopping on with us, and safe travels down 31.
You got it, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for having me.
It's Tom Noy right there on the South Bend Tribune. Again, we'll have Purdue, Butler, IU covers of those respective beats as well. Notre Dame and Indiana. Content with this ending? Seems like Purdue and Butler are a little bit more open-minded.
You know, it is a fun event. There are so many things, Kevin, that just remind me like of the holiday season. Admittedly, old guy here, doing my Christmas shopping while Indiana and Kentucky were playing for years was special to me. The Crossroads and the same. Change is hard sometimes because you get used to traditions and it becomes fun, but I get it. I get why, especially from a college basketball standpoint, teams are expanding out and you got tournaments all over the place and having to just stay in your own backyard is probably not as important as it once was.
I get it. I don't like it. I get it. I think it's a fun day for Central Indiana fans. You go to the game with your neighbors, Purdue fan, Butler fan, IU fan, whatever. Yes, there's predominantly cream and crimson in there, but still, I always kind of enjoy, too. You get 3 fan bases oftentimes rooting against IU. It's got like a little bit of an NCAA tournament feel to it as well. So, again, Butler, Purdue, noon, Indiana, Notre Dame, 2:30.
Thanks to Tom. Thanks to Sal Palantonio for joining us as well. We are back at it again tomorrow at 7 a.m., right, Kevin?
Yes, sir.
All right, beautiful day out, everybody. Enjoy it. We'll talk to you at 7 a.m. tomorrow.